Got a video up?
I thought your video that you put on Facebook. Wasn't it on there? Where'd you go, Eddie?
Slip sliding away.
It was showing low bandwidth, so it may have kicked him out.
Yeah, I kicked him out.
Slip sliding away.
Billy's gonna sing for us tonight.
How y'all doing?
Good.
Good? That's
Yeah, are you cold?
What?
Are you cold, Billy?
I'm always cold. I don't know.
Huh.
And low blood pressure, I guess. I'm drinking hot coffee. That'll fix it. Y'all been turning?
Pot sitting there.
Say again?
What you got in that pressure pot sitting there?
I've got some resin going in, just some wood that pretty much came apart on me when I was turning it. It was a nice, pretty piece of sycamore, kind of pretty, kind of like this, but then it right as I was turning it, it had a hidden knot. So it just kind of came apart. So I'm like, I don't want to give up on it because I've already bored it and centered it and turned it and shaped it, and the last little part of the turning it just came apart. So I put some liquid diamonds resin, which is a real slow cure resin. It doesn't get hot, so it's not moisture. It's not susceptible to moisture, because I know the wood's probably still a little green. So I put some around it and put it in a cup. So it doesn't have to have a pressure pot, but I just put it on there because it'll make it get further into the cracks. But we'll see.
You're kind of gluing it back together with the resin. Is that what you're doing?
It was just missing. Only way I can explain it, it was just a whole chunk came off the side. It was a knot that was hidden. As I was turning the final shape, it just came off and disintegrated. I couldn't even find it. I would have put it back on, but I couldn't even find it. So basically what I did was I took this and put it inside a cup where it would fit down in the bottom. And then I poured resin just to fill that void with the least amount of wasted resin as possible.
Got a piece of the garage waiting to do that too.
Yeah, normally I would do that. I wouldn't even put it in a pressure pot, but I did because it was easy. The resin is like really slow. I mean, it might be 4 hours of working time or something on it. That particular resin, it's not really good to mix colors because the colors will blend on you. You know, like the Lumalite, you got like 7 or 12 minutes before it starts to thicken up, and you can really do some beautiful blending of colors. But it gets so hot when it cures that whatever moisture's in the wood just boils out. So it doesn't work too well unless the wood is really dry.
And if you're
but you would have to mix this resin up separate colors and maybe take a 2-hour break and come back. And it would just be starting to thicken up. So yeah. So really it's good because you're not in a hurry, you know.
right.
But if you are in a hurry, you're waiting along. Say again?
Yeah. You got to watch the other ones that are quick and hot.
Yeah.
You got to watch your form that you're putting in them.
Oh yeah.
I watched a video I think yesterday or day before. The guy was using some, and it got so hot that it melted right through the plastic form that he built around. You know.
You know, it's kind of funny because a lot of the molds I have are homemade molds, and if I use the slow cure resin, it's so thin. If you've got any resemblance of a leak, it will come out. You know, with a Lumalite, you're only like 12 minutes of working time, so it's going in thick.
Yeah.
So it's like two different things. But
I just used hot glue.
Yep.
And there was little holes in it, and that stuff found every little hole in that glue. Yeah.
And when it starts to kick off hot, the hot glue melts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Painter's tape works really well because it likes the moisture. It'll catch the moisture.
Hey, Billy. Hey, Brenda.
Hey, well, that was a beautiful picture on Facebook, dude.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
yes.
I thought it was excellent.
It was almost like it was a professional photographer took it, you know?
Yeah, it was actually.
It was beautiful.
Thanks. We had our friend who's a professional photographer do those photos, and I think that's when Cash was only like a week old in that picture. So
He did a great job.
thanks. Yeah, she did great. We went back and got photos with for Christmas because everywhere you went, you couldn't see Santa Claus anymore. You couldn't sit on their lap or anything. It was like 6 feet away in front of Santa Claus. The kids had to sit on a bench. But she hired a Santa Claus who actually had a real beard and everything, looked the real deal. And they tested COVID every morning. And they offered real Santa photos where you would actually get your photos with Santa. And they made a killing. But they had to follow proper protocol and all that stuff and rapid tests every morning. So, but yeah, it was
Very cool.
cool.
Hey, I wanted to mention that this is Matt Harbor. I wanted to mention Captain Eddie, and if Ronnie's on, I did a demo on Sunday for a local club, and they were doing Freedom Pens also. So I mentioned our club, and I don't know if any of the guys will be on, but they seemed interested in being a part of it and jumping in to mention it. So there are a lot of veterans there in that club also, and they have local connections. So a lot of their stuff is gone.
Yeah,
They
my
did
club
say-
is okay.
Good,
They
we
did say they were-
welcome.
They did say that they seemed to they were looking for more people to give the pens to. So a lot of those pens from that club have gone to the Coast Guard because they have connections to the local Coast Guards.
Coast Guard's underrepresented anyhow, so there's nothing wrong with that.
You know, we've got to. I
They
mean,
got
here.
nice looking boats.
Yeah, well, I mean, here we've got a pretty active Coast Guard. So they've got a major Coast Guard station in downtown Detroit, and they got another one in Port Huron, and we've got all the lakes and stuff that they're always pulling folks off the ice and so on. So,
Yep.
They're very robust presence here in Michigan.
If they have the
Here in
pins,
Arizona.
if they have the pins, we can distribute them.
All right, that's what I thought. So cool.
Right,
So I don't know
right.
if any of the I gave the link to a bunch of folks and said, hey, it's free, just jump on. So I don't know if they'll make it or not, but if they do, that's cool. So
Good, good.
We need, hey folks,
Thank
we
you,
need-
Matt.
Yep.
Hey, members, we need to push that a little bit. Really, when you're talking to your club, your buddies, wood turners, people you meet online or Facebook or whatever, mention that they can come to this meeting, but if they don't make the meeting, they can still support Freedom Pens. I'm a veteran. I believe this is a wonderful program. I'd love to get something from home like this. So let's push it a little bit, if you would. No pressure, just push.
I got a question. I tried to download that business card with the club information on it to pass out. When I went to print it, it didn't print the color. It just printed the black and white. Now, it's been a while back. It's, I don't know, a month ago when I tried to do that. And I don't know if it's just an issue on my end or if it's actually not printing the color in that business card. I was going to pass those out.
It should actually print the color. I'm not quite sure why it's not printing it for you.
It could be the app. It could be the application that you were trying to print it with.
Could be
I don't know if you were
default.
trying to print it on a black and white printer.
No,
Or you could have
no, it
your default turned on for your black and white on your printer.
I'll give it a try, another try. Thank you.
Check your print settings, make sure it's set to color.
Yeah, make sure you can print color from something else.
It's my regular printer. It prints color, you know, I don't have trouble printing, but You might be right. Maybe I did have it set on black and white. I'll go back and look.
That's the kind of stuff that happens at my house, Bill.
Yeah.
And it might work today and it ain't gonna work tomorrow.
Brenda,
Hey, Bill,
Brenda,
that's what
Brenda.
I have a
Yeah.
stack of these. I have a stack of these on my desk all the time. And I mean, a stack. I engraved that pen the other day and I was jittering down what I did because in 10 minutes, ain't no way I'm gonna remember it. Not gonna
Yeah.
happen. And I'm reworking stuff right now and I'm looking for business. I'm looking for the 3x5s to tell me what I did.
Starting to use Post-its. I write all my notes on a Post-it and then I stick it around my shop. That way when I want to do the same task again, it's hanging right there in front of me.
How do you get them to stick? Billy, how do you get it?
See, that's my deal. I got so much airborne dust that won't stick to anything.
Right.
Yeah, mine stick. I don't know. I'm sticking
How's
them
it
to my
work with
little.
compressed air?
When I was working as a superintendent and a construction administrator, I lived with a little pocket pack that had my 3x5 cards and my business cards folded in there and the little bit of money I carried on a day. And that sat in my left-hand pocket every day. I mean, I go through business cards like when I retired, I probably had 1,000 in a box that I'd gotten from the firm I left. Just when I ordered them, they said, here, nobody else uses them. Here's the cards. And there was a case of them. When people miss if you're putting everything in a telephone, you're missing some parts of the world. So that's it. A lot of folks popping in this evening. We've got some good turning to talk about. Dane, who's going to be on our demo tonight?
Mr. Dean Grimes,
Uh-oh.
somewhere in Texas.
That'll be a good one.
It should be. I'm holding his feet to the fire for it.
I have a hard time understanding him when he does his videos. He talks so fast that I can't keep up. It's actually the perfect speed. It really is. But he sounds like it's Dr. Phil, you know?
Can't say I ever listened to Dr. Phil, so.
When you do
Oh, no,
that,
if you're worried about your family, listen to Dr. Phil for just one session. You'll think you're pretty good shape.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Now, Dean, you know that is not the way that it is.
Hey, folks, on a totally off the subject of wood turning, if you haven't seen Cade's Facebook page with his wife and his baby, you got to go and take a look. It is just absolutely fantastic.
We were just talking about that. It's a beautiful photo.
It is, isn't it?
you know, one of our computer gurus is going to grab that photo and pop it up tonight to show y'all. It's excellent, really is. I just want to find out where those two beautiful people found Cade.
I know.
He snuck in for a photo bomb.
Yeah,
Is that
Cade
he
lucked out
snuck
on
in
that
as
one,
a
didn't
photo
he?
bomb?
Might
had a
not
quick question
recognize
for-
me. I actually shaved too.
Yeah. Somebody's got a question?
Yeah, I just had a quick question for you. When you guys are doing your the bottle stopper blanks, what type of sealant are you guys finding to be the best if you're just cutting up like a log of a down tree, cutting them up into logs, taking the pith out, and then cutting them into, I would imagine, 2x2 square blocks. But what are you sealing like the ends with? Are you doing the latex paint? Are you doing wax? Are you doing anything particular for a wood sealant?
You can do it many different ways. The
Cut 'em long.
most cost-effective way is go to the dump, pick up a couple cans of latex paint or oil-based paint and mix them all together and just paint the ends. That would be free. Or you could go across the road to the supermarket, pick up some paraffin wax, and heat that and just dip the ends in paraffin wax. Or if you really want to spend some money, you could buy log end seal, which will seal the ends, but it's not always guaranteed. I find log end seal, it still tends to crack time to time to time. I've had the most success with just getting latex paint from the dump for free or paraffin wax from the superstore.
Okay, perfect.
And I cut a lot of stuff up into 2-inch squares. I'll take a log and chop it up. I normally most of the time I don't do anything.
Yeah,
You just leave it, Trace?
I just leave it. I don't really have a problem. Now in Tucson, you may have a problem because it's so dry there, but I just leave it, and I've had very few of them crack on. Most of them that crack have been around the pith or already had an existing crack in it when they're doing it. So I cut a lot of stuff up into 2x2, 3x3 type thing. Somebody gives you a log to turn a ball with, I chop it up into square stock.
I use latex paint, it still cracks.
Well, I've never had a problem with the smaller stuff cracking either. It's the bigger stuff that cracks when I do it. So
yeah,
full size
small
bowl
stuff-
blanks, that's a problem, but
yeah, ball blanks I do, but I don't. I'll put the proper in coat on it. But most of this other stuff, I don't worry about it. I just put, and they're cut up into lengths of 18 inches, 12 to 18 inches.
Yep.
Because you're going to get minimal cracking. So cut it an extra couple inches longer so you can always cut the cracks off the ends. I used to end seal all my wood in the beginning, and I found it would still crack. So really I was wasting my time painting the ends. Now I would really just dimension it and stand it straight up on the end grain. That way, as it dries, gravity feeds all the water down through the end grain, and the only part that'll crack will be the top portion, maybe an inch. So you'll only have to cut an inch off, and it'll actually dry quicker by doing that. But if you lie it side grain, it's actually going to crack on both ends of the end grain because both ends are exposed, and it's the most porous part of the wood, so it's going to crack on both ends. So stand it up on the end grain and you'll only get cracking on one end.
Perfect. Okay.
I stack my long cut logs that way as well. Up on end.
There was a guy, I forget where he was or who he was, but he wanted to be paid because he had some $1 million idea of how to dry wood without it cracking. So he wanted all these companies to make him a millionaire and pay him millions of dollars. And all he did was took the log, just like I told you, and stood it up on the end grain. The whole log would be solid except for the maybe 2 inches on top.
Worth a try.
Plus you might get some.
I remember Wally Dickerson talking about that. He was out in Arizona. He talked about cutting logs in 8 and 10 foot lengths, standing them up on end, leaning up against the wall, and just leave them. And he would get very minimal cracking, if any.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know what I noticed that the Russians. I've been watching a lot of the Russian YouTube videos on turning because using those tools, and they cut their logs a year ahead of time and they lean them up against the wall. And they're about 10 foot, 10 or 12 foot lengths, and they've leaned them up. And I didn't even think of it that way. They just piled them up, but that's how they've been storing them that way, vertically.
Yep.
And I see what those guys turn.
What about standing them up like that on cement? Will the wood draw water out of it or moisture out of the cement?
No, the cement will retain moisture and water, and the wood will retain the moisture and water from the cement. So the wood will never dry. The wood will actually rot on cement. So if you leave it on cement, put a piece of carpet down or even a couple boards like this, and then sit the log on top. That way it has some way to breathe. What I
Right.
do is I save some of my old Amazon boxes, and I'll just throw a piece of cardboard on the concrete and then the logs on top. So at least the water will go into the cardboard and then dissipate into the air. And I might get a little bit of spalting on the bottom end grain, but it's not going to rot.
Okay.
What,
Yeah.
what about silicone
Concrete.
caulking?
Concrete.
Could you coat the end of the log with silicone caulking?
Be an expensive patch.
I suppose you could.
You can just latex.
Latex,
Your-
absolutely.
The silicone caulk, wouldn't that seal it permanent? I mean, completely, and you wouldn't lose your moisture that way.
That's why you don't use oil-based paint.
Right.
You get better reactions with good latex instead of oil-based. In fact, I've worked with an architect firm that wouldn't use latex, oil-based paint on exterior wood because it doesn't let the moisture bleed out. In our area, with 89% humidity during the summers, if you trap that moisture in, it's going to rot. So they wanted to escape, and the latex allows it to escape, but it controls it to a degree. I found that, you know, we save a little sample when we paint a room, and the rest of it goes into a mix bucket. And it's gray in color now, but it's, you know, it's a mix of whatever color we painted. A whole lot of pink in there, you know, so we had to break it down with something. I'm lucky this room is not pink. I am. If she had her choice, this would be a pink studio right here.
Well, she could always change that.
Yeah, well, I got the door closed. You can't hear me. But,
I got her phone number. I can give her a call. Or I got Kathy give her a call.
We can just do
Videos
send her the timestamp of the video next week.
There you go.
She'll watch it.
you know, it's good to have friends, really, you know?
Just looking out for you, Cap.
You feel the love, huh, Cap?
This week I added this light back here. It's LED, and picked it up on Amazon for like $20, and it gives a lot of light. She walked in yesterday and said, "I want one like that over the kitchen sink." I said, "I don't think I want one like that over the kitchen sink." So I guess I'm adding lighting. You know, you get caught in some things. Now I'm inside. She caught me vacuuming. Thought, well, you can do this room. You can just, you know, get a longer cord and do the rest of the house. Now, that's as bad as a dust mop and a broom Pam that she gave me. That's
Yeah, pick your battles.
I was married. I was married 32 years on Monday on Valentine's Day, and I got one. Thank you. I got one thing from one of my kids that said, 32 years, ain't that enough?
Did they send that to you or your wife?
Oh, they sent it to me. She got happy Valentine's greetings. I got the noise. I am in a market for bottle stopper plugs. Get this, plugs made of cork that goes on a 3/8 inch dowel or a 3/8 inch plastic insert. I used to have a source for that, and they're gone. So if you're buying those, tell me where you're buying them at. Nothing free. I just want I got some beautiful turning wood.
They're already pre-drilled.
Something like this, Eddie.
What's Tim got?
Ace
That's what I'm looking for, Tim.
Craft Supply. They're already pre-drilled.
And
Pork bottles. Porks. Already pre-drilled. Got them from Craft Supply.
I didn't see them, so I have to go back and hunt it again. All
It
right.
might be, try Treeline, also try treelineusa.com.
Yeah, I have tree line on my list. I'm ordering some cane parts from them, probably tomorrow.
Yeah, I think I think the wife ordered them from Tree Line originally, but the package says Craft Supply underneath it. So maybe Tree Line bought them from Craft Supply. Woodturnerscatalog.com is another.
Eddie, Nick Cook sells them directly. He sells them in quantity too.
Oh, okay. I
Probably
know
some
Nick.
of the better pricing. Nick Cook still sells them.
All right, I got Nick's number. Okay.
Just drill a hole in them. That's what I do.
Say again.
I just drill my own. I
Well,
drill
you
a
gotta
little
get
hole in a piece of wood and push the cork in the piece of wood to make it level and slide the piece of wood on the drill press and drill a hole. Every once in a while, one of them doesn't turn out quite right. And guess what? It goes right in the trash can.
But you got to start with the cork.
What?
Oh, you got him pondering now. See that? See that? Billy's really in a ponder right now.
No, I mean, I'm trying to figure out what he's saying. I missed a word or two there somewhere.
Well,
I don't drill a hole all the way through my cork. Okay. I drill it like 2/3 of the way through. So when I make my bottle stoppers, I glue the cork on with wood glue. So I don't have a piece of wood protruding out the bottom of the bottle stopper.
But what's your source of cork?
It's just cork from off of Amazon. It doesn't have a hole in it. You know, it's just a cork. And then I just, like I said, I just drill a hole in a piece of wood and stick it in there tight and level and stick that piece of wood on my drill press and drill a hole.
Drink a lot of bottles.
You know, I mean, it's very inexpensive. They're not anything special. They're basic corks, you know.
Billy, we know where you're from down in Homer, but what do you use bottle corks for? I'm in Homer. Never thought they'd ever cork a bottle back up.
Hey, Eddie, I bought 200 corks because I made my own wine. Okay, off Amazon, just like what he's saying there. I think I paid maybe $15. Got 200 corks.
Yeah, I've got some. Let's see. I've got some that are rubber. Oh, some rubber ones, and also bought some cork ones. Yeah.
We don't buy them for wood supplies, we buy them for brewery supplies. What you're looking for, Eddie, is it's optic bottle cork. It's what they slide on the bottle optics that they hang behind the bars. You'll find they're a lot cheaper from a brewery suppliers rather than a wood turning suppliers.
Alrighty. Well, a lot of good. I'm just looking. I don't want Kim to be mad at me, but I got a lot of scrap pieces, corners off of bowls and stuff like that, because I was nuts about throwing it all in a bucket and keeping it. Now's the time to chop it all up and do something with it, and making a simple cork or a simple bottle stopper. It's good if you go to a lunch or dinner with somebody and you just leave it with them. You got to pay for the meal somehow. So, all right, and I've got a chunk of Asian jasmine that came out of my oak tree out front. It was only been out there for about 25, 30 years. It's 3 inches in diameter where it went down to the ground, and it's a beautiful chunk of wood. Asian jasmine. It looks like I bought it as ground shrubbery when I was building a hospital to cover up the mistakes outside the doors. And I put the Asian. I brought home 7 little 1-gallon cans. Then over 25 years, it overtook the oak tree, which I loved, but boss was in charge of tree trimming when I was away, so it got trimmed. All right.
Eddie, get a chance to turn any of that wood I sent you yet?
No, but that's what I'm ordering the cane parts for tomorrow. I got some from you, and I got from some Sue, and I got a nice block from a guy. I had the card here. I got a nice block of wood today from a guy, and I not the card up. And it's like Osage orange color. And he says he soaked it in you spray it on the dashboard of your car in
Armoro
stuff. Armoro. Said armor. Said
Hey,
we
on
still
that,
getting armor.
on that spalted stuff, that real light spalted pecan that I sent you. One of the reasons I sent it to you was to try to get some tips and tricks from you on stabilizing and that type of thing. So I don't know if you want to talk
I'm
about
gonna
that.
look at it. I have it on the shelf and I have it stored. It was before Kate said anything about it. I have it all stored, stacked up in a cardboard box from the post office. And I stack it on ends. And that will keep it. I always found that post office boxes are free and, oh wait, you're only supposed to use them with mail. All right, forget all that. I didn't. All right.
I won't tell, Eddie. I won't tell. I'm retired,
Okay.
but I won't tell.
Two kids I grew up with were post office security or police or whatever. And I said one time, is that a good job? And he said, we have more power than you'd ever imagine. Gordon says, if I buy a bottle of wine, I get a free cork. That's a deal, Gordon. All right. They need to travel down to Houma and somebody would drink it from me, right, Billy?
Susan, what you been turning this week?
Not too much. I was in Okeechobee.
Out
You
running
know,
around.
My son-in-law won the pen. So he was thrilled. And I got home Monday night. I did turn a one of those things that sewers like, thing
Seam
that
ripper?
the thing that cuts the threads.
Seam ripper.
Seam ripper.
That's it.
Yeah.
My neighbor wanted a seam ripper and I did that last. She's got it.
I made one of those for my wife. She absolutely loved it so much. She's got a friend up in Canada that sews a lot. She had me make one for her and send it to her too. They both love it.
Yeah. Debbie
If
just
they're
loved.
Those are good sellers at craft shows too.
Yeah, yeah. And the deal on getting those parts is you can buy them from Kraft or Penn State or one of those folks. But if you watch it in the dollar stores, you might find a package of 3 or 4 in a dollar store, and the all you want's a steel, and you hit them with a hammer, take the part out, insert it into the piece you turned, and you find out that something this length, like an ink pen, they like that more than that little bit of stubby thing. But and you can decorate them and all. I did them one time for one of my wife's quilting groups. I must have done 25 of them one year, or for Christmas, and every one of them came from dollar store smash. And I was in the dollar store. Doug Rowe was right next to me buying colored pencils. So,
Of course.
I don't see Doug in here tonight. Well, we got a good crowd of folks coming in. I see Mr. John Brown's with us tonight. Yeah. Bob Clark, is that our Bob Clark from Hattiesburg with us?
No, this is Bob Clark from Palmdale, California.
Okay. I'm just cruising through the crowd that we have in here tonight. A lot of familiar faces.
Mark Soleil's online.
All right. Well,
But
you
is
watch
he
him. He's
awake?
well, if he's awake, he's grumpy.
I'm awake.
There he is.
How's John Brown? I ain't seen John Brown for weeks.
Well,
Where you
yeah,
at?
he's with us right now.
Well, Brenda,
John.
if you would come to the meeting more often.
I missed last week. I was away or something. I
Yes,
don't
John.
remember why.
Okay.
It's always good to see you, John.
Hi, John. You been
You're
turning
muted, John.
anything?
You're muted, John.
John, I can't hear you.
You're on mute, John.
Hey, John. We can't hear you, John. You're muted.
There,
There
I'm
you
on
go.
now. I think, but no, I was
We can
working
hear
on
you
some
now.
wig stands, repairing furniture here at where I live, and a wood turning club I belong to is now making a number of tops for kids at the local hospital.
Nice.
That's what
Staying
I've been.
busy, aren't you?
That keeps
Sounds
me
like you're
busy.
staying busy.
Pardon me?
Said it sounds like you're staying busy.
Yes, I am very busy. Yeah. Then they
Good.
have entertainment
Good.
here a couple nights a week. Tomorrow I go to my niece's to help her do some turning.
Gosh. Lucky niece.
Gary's with us, Johnny's with us, Gordon, Mark, Martin. Got a good group in the meeting here tonight, folks. We'll look for input from all of y'all. I mean, you got something to chat about. Now's the time.
Yeah,
We
I
might
have
do a
another
little.
question.
Go ahead.
Another question. What do some of you fellows use for a switcher to switch your cameras with? I've got a couple other demonstrations to do for clubs, and I'd like to use about 3 cameras, but I don't know how you switch them.
I use a software on the computer that's called vMix.
Oh, okay.
Other people use another one called what is it? ODB or something like that? OBS. There we go. It does similar
OBS
stuff.
is free. How much is vMix? I know you have to pay for that one. OBS is free. Or the black box you have to pay
OBS is
for
free.
too.
I did pay. I like vMix, and I did pay the $40 for it or whatever it was. It's a one-time fee that limits you to 3 cameras and 4 total inputs. So yeah, there are limits to that. But it is, it works well for me, and I can justify it. So.
What kind of cameras are you using?
I am using
webcams. Another one's an iPhone and one's an iPad.
You can do the switching right in Zoom if you want, John.
Yeah, you can.
Zoom will let you
between
just
2 cameras, can't you? Between the computer
Zoom,
and one, between the computer and one camera.
Well, Zoom will let you any number of inputs. If it's all going through your computer, Zoom will let you switch between inputs.
Okay.
So you can just go into Zoom and say, go in to click the little camera icon on your computer and pick a different input.
Oh, okay.
So just like you could do with microphones.
When I was on Zoom, I could only find that they let you use one extra camera along with the computer. I must not be looking in the right place.
Yeah, right at my little thing where I have I'm running. Let me tell you what I'm running. I'm running Windows, and Zoom is running on Windows, and I have something like I just undid myself here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 possible inputs listed right now on my camera selection. So one of these includes something called capture and IV cam, which lets me pick up an outside source. So I input my when I'm using my phone, I use it through IV cam, which is a
okay.
What's that?
Okay.
There's a similar sort of client server application available on Apple platforms to use your iPhone too. So I could, like walk around with my phone and input it through. I don't what do they call the protocol on Apple platforms?
AirPlay.
No, it's something else.
You're not talking about iOS just for the software, right?
No, it's like NVD or NVM or something like that.
Oh, I know what I'm not sure.
I don't know what it's called.
NMI?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, sorry. It's not available. It's not available on Windows platforms, but you can use NMI through that if you're using an Apple platform.
Yeah, if I go from OBS to Zoom, I got to jump through NDI to get a clear signal. Otherwise, it's chop, 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 chop. And on a Mac, I'm 100% wireless right now. And on a Mac, sometimes my system's a little bit, it's too heavy for my system. So
You know, the wireless can be a bottleneck.
Now, let's get back to one. He's trying to answer his question is that the two things. Okay, you're using your iPad and your iPhone for camera inputs.
Yes.
The other thing is what kind of computer do you have?
MacBook
Okay,
Pro.
then get rid of vMix. You're going to have to go to OBS.
Oh.
Right.
Okay, vMix will not run on a Mac.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to have to go to OBS to do that, or
All
find
right.
some, or you do it in Zoom. Is this a remote demo you're doing for somebody?
Well, yeah, it's one of the clubs, and it's working the same way that you are here. They host the meeting, and then I'll be on there to do a demonstration, like I did here one time.
Sometimes it's just as easy to move your phone around.
Oh, okay.
To just, you know, if you want to view it from the top or end or side, to just have it on a tripod, you can move it around and reposition it.
Okay.
Especially if you can get somebody to help
maybe
you.
there was a better way.
Yeah, and the other thing is try to get somebody to help get somebody to handle the logistics of the video part while you're doing the demo.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that will allow them to take your phone and point it to you while you're talking and doing something, explaining something for a few minutes, and then push it back down to what you're doing otherwise.
Okay. All right. All right.
I was worrying about the logistics of the movement of the camera. It's like chewing gum and tap dancing at the same time.
Yeah, it's even with the system I have set up here, that I just push a button to change from camera to camera. I find it a whole lot easier. Johnny's been a great help on being able to switch cameras and everything else as needed. So you really need to have somebody else there helping you usually.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. I think
There's a lot of options.
Hey Trace, I got a question. I've always thought about this. I don't know, maybe you guys are doing it already, but if you logged on, say 3 different times with 3 different devices, turn the microphone off on all of them but one, and then whoever's watching the video could pick which view that they wanted to watch independently of everyone else. Would that work?
That will work. The other thing you can do is you can have one of the co-hosts change the spotlight and have somebody physically change the spotlight. Now, when you do that, you don't turn the mic off, you turn the speaker off. You're going to have the mic on all of them.
Oh, it might cause some problems.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the best way that would work. I guess you can have
in Zoom, Trey, in Zoom, you can choose your input mic. So let's say you've got a camera like right on your shoulder, and you say this is my input mic, and you mute yourself on your other views. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're going to have to mute the other ones because they all come through.
Yeah, and that can induce feedback. You're right. Yep.
Okay.
But Billy, it has happened several times. We've had some meetings here during this earlier that had 2 different inputs, had an iPad and an iPhone, both logged into Zoom, and we simply had the host switch the views for the audience, and you can have the host do your switching for it.
Oh, that's cool.
And that works reasonably well, but just have a host do the switching for you.
Yep, there is another option for moving the camera around, John. What Trey suggested is an excellent idea with the tripod. Amazon also, you can buy a tripod on Amazon for like $22.
Yes,
and
I
you
know.
can buy a 19-inch gooseneck for very little money.
Right.
And then you buy a little plastic camera holder. Okay.
Yeah.
And you just basically mount your phone on top of the gooseneck on top of the tripod, and then you can reposition it and move it around. You know, it's real light. It's not heavy.
Okay. All right.
And that's another option. I have at least one of the cameras in my shop is on that setup on a tripod on a gooseneck.
All right.
And I was
work
really
on some of
talking
that.
about doing something similar to that, that you had the flexibility of, undoing it.
Yeah, I've got the gooseneck plus the tripod. It works great.
Yep. That's an excellent plan.
So, well,
Eddie, I got a question for you.
closet on the really nice light. I didn't know how, I've been using that with the iPad holder on it to hold my iPad to do my videos. The only problem I'm having is a microphone for the iPad. I've had a couple of them. I got another one coming in a couple of days, and I just got some tips on another series, but I just can't get them to work either in my laptop or my iPad or my phone. And they're all made for it, and they all talk about it, but I bought all the adapters and all the clips and the gadgets and all that stuff, and still it's generating a sound that I can plug a regular mic into that jack and talk. But I want a wireless. I don't want all those wires around my machine.
Yeah, when you figure it out, let me know.
All
I
right.
bought
I'm gonna
and I had no luck either.
I'm gonna go up on Amazon and find the one that I use in the shop. I think it works really well. It's wireless. It's one of the bit that goes into the computer. It talks directly to it. And so I'll find that and put it in the chat. It's
Put a lot of that stuff in the chat.
I use a cheap wireless one, but I'm using right now just a Bluetooth headset. Right, what I'm using right now, and that would work fine for
Yes.
doing any of the demos.
Yeah, sounds really good. That's what I got. I got the little earbuds. Yep. But the batteries are only good for a couple of hours, but you can get bigger ones.
Well, mine's only good for about 12 hours, so.
Oh yeah.
Can you guys see this? Can you guys see this?
Mine's good for like 12. Cute.
Big baby.
Well, mine would only be good for about 5 minutes with that thing. You'd get those earbuds chewed up good.
All right.
Hey,
Hey,
I got a
folks,
question.
in a meeting on Wednesday evenings like we're all right now, we do some gallery. And now it is about 1/2 the hour, a little bit better. And if Dane's got some folks lined up for the gallery, he can announce them, introduce them. And when Dane says he's got you up, start talking, because there are 81 little squares we have to look at and pick you talking. So Dane, do you have anybody up for a gallery?
Well, lo and behold, I do. How about that?
All right.
Let's go to Doug. What's up, Doug?
How to do? Finally started feeling better and got shopped the other day. And of course, last week we talked about my little magic hat, and that the hat probably needed a gonk to go on. So we've got a little gonk or a gnome. So there he is. That's that same little hat.
It looks like Ron.
Somebody said
He's
looked like
looking
me.
good.
Twins.
Those are simple little things to turn. It'll kind of fun. You use up some little pieces of wood that have been looking for a place to be, and so it's a lot of fun. The beard material I think I got from Joann's. Supposedly you can get it anywhere, but I was having trouble finding it. I finally went to Joann's, and there it was.
Nice job.
All you got to do is grow your goatee out a little bit more and give yourself a little
See?
trim. Huh?
Well, Mama keeps it trimmed back pretty short. So
Sacrifices, what we do.
All right. What else do we have, Dane?
Well, let's see. We got Bob in Texas. What do you say, Bob?
See if I can unmute it. There you go.
You changed
What's
your
wrong with
handle
my
on me.
camera? What's wrong with that camera?
Oh,
There
now
you
we
go.
can see it.
Yeah, I was still playing around with the fluted stuff.
Wow.
And, finally came up with a jig. Jeff Salter had a jig, and I liked that, made that. And
I like the finial. It's a pretty finial.
Yeah, thanks.
Very nice.
It fits it really well.
That's beautiful.
Turned out pretty good.
Fluting on that came out really good, Bob.
Yeah, I like them. Here's the second one I made, but they're a little thick. They're a little still a little heavy, but anyway, they still turned out fine.
Real nice.
Very
Better
nice.
than being
Nice.
see
Yeah,
through.
very nice.
I got some pictures of the jig if y'all would like to see it. I don't know if anybody's interested.
I'm interested.
Imagine
Okay.
nobody being interested.
Yeah.
Let me share the screen here and I'll.
Go ahead.
You're up.
All right. Let me. I forgot how you do this, Dane. What do I click on?
Share screen. And then you click on whatever the image is. It
Oh,
helps to have
share
it up.
down here. Is that it? There we go.
Yep. Green button. There you go.
You didn't
It helps
forget
to-
how to do it. You got it.
Yeah,
You got it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
Bob had a
forgot.
dry run earlier.
That's right. Yeah. There's
What kind of finish? What kind of finish is that?
that's that spray lacquer. It's actually not DEF. It's the
Minwax? Minwax?
No. It's a regular paint you buy at Home
Rust-Oleum?
Depot.
What?
Rust-Oleum. There you go, Rust-Oleum. I like
Okay.
it better than the DEF. It seems like it's harder. The DEF, I have trouble with it after you put it on, it all looks good, and you set it down somewhere, and you come back in 2 weeks and it's kind of stuck, to the bottom. So anyway, I'm not real crazy about that anymore, but I do like this one. This one seems to work.
I have to try that.
Here's the actual jig. It's a platform, that you can put on your banjo or whatever. And it uses a 16th inch cable, just a steel cable. And some, these are bearings or the screen door bearings. I had some smaller ones. I found some on Amazon, and I thought they'd work, but they were really too little. I didn't like them, so I went back to these. The router.
I'd love to see a design document or some kind of schematic or something. I'd even love to see how I did this video.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if I can do a video, but maybe I don't know. See if I can try something here. The router, hangs in over here. This is a coupling, like a 1/4 inch rod coupling. It's like a nut, but it's about 1 inch long. This over here is just 2 washers, and this is how you tie the cables together. You slide this thing back and tighten the cable up, and then when you get this little jig tight, and then you slide this back toward the corner, and it tightens everything up. This is an index wheel up here on the end, and just a platen. The platen is tied, it is loose. That the platen and the cable are what are all tied together. The index wheel is, of course, tight to the shaft of the headstock, and you're turning the deal you're going to turn. So when you want this thing to move, you turn the index wheel. You turn this whole platen, 2 pieces. You actually pin them together so that you can index it and move it wherever you want to. But you pin them together, and then you turn this a half a turn or whatever you get. This one here is
your index wheel is pinned to your platen. Is that correct?
Yeah. Let me go through another picture here, and whoops, wrong way. Oops, let me back up one. So you can see where the cables are coming around. I put some stops on here so I know where to stop each time.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And the router, like I said, hangs onto the front end of this thing, sits on a 1/4 inch bolt off the base of that router. That's the wrong way. See, here's the 1/4 inch bolt, it slips over. And so when you turn it, you don't, I kept trying to move the router, and that's not what you need to move. You need to move the wheel. Turn this wheel, which turns everything, and the router's going to move because he's tied to that cable. So the router just going to slide straight across here. The distance that you travel is like right here, I measured from that corner to this. So that's probably, looking at my vase here, that's probably 6 inches. So you go back to this little wheel in here that the cable's actually wrapped around, and you say, okay, well, I've got to go 6 inches and a half a turn, or 6 inches and a quarter of a turn. And that's how you figure out what size this wheel needs to be that the cable actually wraps around.
Does the cable tension on the router pull the router into the piece? How does it follow the contours of your piece?
No, you do. You push it into the piece.
Okay, thanks.
It's pretty tight, but there's still enough slop here that you can push it around the piece.
Okay.
These little white things here, rubber stoppers, are depth gauge, so you don't go too far into it.
Oh, I see those. Okay.
I got you.
Which direction am I going? Not going the wrong way.
How are you resetting your router position? Obviously, you got to loosen up that cable when you make that turn. How are you loosening everything back up?
No, I don't
reposition it.
Yeah, I really don't loosen the cable. I just pull it back to this dead position here. Start right here, and then I turn this wheel. And when I do that,
the wheel.
Yeah, actually I'd be going the other direction, but it would make the router go that direction down this board. Okay, and then when I get ready to start again, well, I turn the wheel back to where he's at the dead stop again, or at the top, and all of this is back up against this end. And then I loosen this index wheel, this pin, to this piece right here. So you loosen up you undo the pin, and you turn the index wheel, which in turn turns the wood piece, and yet your cable stays where it was. So your cable's stationary, and you turn the platen or the index wheel and your stock to the next 20 degrees or whatever it is, and then you pin it again. And then you do the same process. You turn the router on and turn these two together, which makes the cable move, and the router is going to just get dragged along with it. So you
Okay,
got
how do you control the depth when you get to your piece of you're working on? How do you control the depth, especially as it cones around?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I wanted it to kind of go off the end, not necessarily be the same depth on the ends. You know, like right here, I wanted it to kind of taper off, so I didn't turn it into it. And the little white things are pushing up against the side of the wood. And the little stoppers I had, one on each side, it pushes up against the side of the wood as it slides along, and it keeps it a pretty good depth. I mean, it keeps it about the same all the way across there.
Yeah, flip back to your pick with the stoppers on it, Bob.
Yeah, let's see here. There's one right there.
The little white thingy?
Yeah, these little white things, those are, I had trouble finding them, but I actually got the little door stops, you know, to keep the door from swinging all the way open.
Yeah.
You put that on the hinge. That's what it's made for. It's got another little piece that you stick on the hinge, and this thing keeps the door from slapping up against the cabinet or something, whatever you can stop the door wherever you want to from opening too far. So anyway, I threw all the rest of it away, just kept these little threaded deals with the white stoppers on the end. I'm sure there's other ways to do it, but that was the easiest thing I found. Let's see here. There was that one. Nope, I'm going backwards. Let me go back one more time. That one. Just a different view. But again, you know, this board and this are tied together. I actually have them pinned together. So I can change this. I want to be able to change this, the diameter of this thing so that I can change how far it moves down sideways, down linear down this board. You know, down this thing right here, this track. So that's what determines how far you move down the track. If I had a limp in here and I want it to be 12 inches, then I'd want it to move 12 inches down this T-track. And to get 12 inches, I have to figure out how much diameter, I mean, you know, the circumference around this thing, what is 12 inches? Is that a halfway around? Or is it only a quarter of a turn and I get 12 inches? So if you had a big wheel out here, let's say it's 15 inches times 3, you know, point whatever it is, and you can tell how far it's going to move in a half a turn or a quarter of a turn. How much cable is going to come off that reel. So in this case, I only had I think it's about a 3-inch deal here, and I only wanted to move 6 inches. So you had to figure out how big this reel needed to be to get it to go linearly down the side of this. You're 6 inches.
So you want to move that cable that the router is hooked on right now would have to move to our right.
That's correct. The 6 inches. Whatever the distance you want it to go. If I wanted to go from there to here, if that's 6 inches, and that's as far as you want that cable to move, is 6 inches.
2 to 1.
Okay.
And it's 6 inches coming off of this wheel. You know, so it would move, this wheel would turn and you'd get 6 inches of cable off that wheel, which would allow it to slide down 6 inches.
They said there's a plan for the system online. Gerald Jensen just posted it to chat. So for folks, if you want to build one, there's a formal set of plans out available. That is a nifty.
I see it as a DVD on Packard Woodworks site, not necessarily plans, but I suppose it's the same thing. So
it is. It's the same thing. That's what I actually did. I bought those plans from Jeff Salter.
That's who's been mentioned in the chat.
I'm not looking at the chat, but I'm sure it's
somebody put it in the chat.
It's the only one I've seen do this. I mean, there's another guy that does it, but it's not exactly the same. He uses printer ribbon cable. It's like a track.
Yeah.
And he does it with that, and that looked really good, and I almost did it. And then I thought, well, no, this has a little more flexibility. I can actually move the router with this cable. I can actually move the router around a little bit.
Right.
It looks like 90% of your parts could come from the hardware store, is that right?
Oh yeah, all of these just come out of the hardware store or cheap. You know, it's cheap. I think I've got $30 in it. Other than this router, this was a Harbor Freight router, and that's what he used. He used a Harbor Freight router and hooked this jig up like this.
I was looking at those this morning. That's also $30.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This little thing is not but $30-something. It's, you know, cheap router, but
it's 29 something.
Yeah, it gives you the ability. And this didn't work. That thing's worthless, but that's okay. You can loosen it up and move the router in and out, you know. So, but anyway, it worked good for what I wanted it for. You remember the first one I tried? I've forgotten who else on here had talked about it, where he used a weight that went down one side, and that worked too.
Yeah.
You know, if you wrap the three times around this, so it would have a good grip around this wheel with that cable, the weight down here would pull it back. But doing that, you know, thinking back on what I did, I tried to move the router, and I shouldn't have. I should have been moving the wheel all the time, just like I did on this one. You know, turn the wheel and just let the router follow. But in that scenario, you'd have to keep constant tension on this end of the cable with the router. You'd have to have your hand would be putting the tension on this router to keep that cable stiff, you know.
Yes, I do.
Where this way you don't have to worry about it. Everything is tight. It's not going to go anywhere except for in this linear direction. But anyway, it worked real good for me. I was there's where I
Yeah, very, very nice results.
Yeah, I think it turned out great. I didn't in this. I was afraid of this. I don't like to carve a lot, but that really sanded out pretty good. I put it those little foam sanding pads. You normally put them in a drill. Well, I put them in my drill press and used a and I could move the wood rather than moving the sandpaper. And
yeah, you can have
good
good control over it. Yeah,
that it had good control over it, and these things sanded down real easy. It might have taken me an hour to sand the whole thing, but it turned out good.
I really like how things finished on the bottom there. That looks like it's real consistent and stuff.
Yeah, it was. It turned out really good.
Yep,
now
very
this,
nice.
Yeah, let me see here. Yeah, let me go back to there they are. But they did. I think they turned out real nice. What I want to do next, I guess, is to make a longer vase, maybe a skinnier neck on one end, just to play with it. But all of these things, how many are you going to make? That's the problem. But it didn't cost a whole lot, and I enjoyed making them. So
that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Well, thanks. I appreciate
I think we should get a demo.
I wish I had a way to do that. I just don't know how to do it. I guess I could figure out some way.
Like everyone's saying, you could do it with a phone. So
yeah, that's what I'm using here is my phone, but maybe I don't know.
Just get one of your mates around to hold the phone, and he can follow your process, and you just do it like you normally do it.
Yeah, but
I'd be happy to run a Zoom with you, Bob, if you wanted to test it out and try it.
Oh, okay.
I want to know this enough. If I'm happy to help you get it figured out.
All right. Well, I might take you up on that, Matt.
Okay.
But do I just keep this same session going up on the PC and try to take the phone out in the garage, or?
Well, you can, however you're doing it. If you want to run it directly through your phone, you can do it right through your phone.
So I could do the Zoom through the phone.
Yeah, right. I've got Zoom on my phone too, and if for some reason I have a bad connection, I can do it right through my phone.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, maybe I'll try that then. I don't know. But yeah, I might hit you up, see if we can get something going on that.
Yeah, I'd really like to see this in action.
But thanks, guys. Yeah, I enjoyed doing it. I thought that turned out pretty good.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
It certainly did.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's
back in the day, Sears sold a router lathes that you could do spirals like that. In the chat, I put a link to a video.
Yeah, Sears had one, and I don't know if they still have it or not, but I've seen when the third one there were a lot of comments on the Sears one.
I had one a long time ago. It was a nice toy. I was trying to do too much commercial work with it, but it was nice. For fooling around with stuff like we do, it'd be great. And we could probably find one on eBay or something like that. So if you find one, let's know about it. Okay. We're still doing gallery. No, wait. All right. I think we're supposed to have a demonstrator on right now. If he's set up and ready to go, we'll launch and go to the demonstration.
I think he is.
Dean Grimes is with us tonight. Here he is, live and direct.
Yeah, let's see if we can make this happen here. Get my stool out of the way. All righty.
We caught him sitting on the job.
You did.
Should have gave you a fair warning.
Kind of proud of that, Okay, so folks, tonight we're going to do a scoop. I'll just show you what I'm talking about here. Looks like I've already scooped some shavings with it there, but we're going to do one of these. That's the one I had left. I did several of them before my last show, and the wife claimed that one, so we still have it. Let me ask you guys, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Sounded good. Hey, Dean, before you get started, I just want to make an announcement.
Yes,
So
sir.
folks, when we have our demonstrators on, let's refrain
All right.
from interjecting into the demo. And if you got a question or you want to state how you do something, let's wait until after the demonstrator has done his demo, and then we can talk about the various different ways something can be done. Let's not do it during the demo and interrupt the demonstrator. All right, go ahead, Dean.
No problem, Dane, and I can tell you, it doesn't matter what we do. There's about a dozen ways for every turner on this call to do it. And,
absolutely.
I can tell you, I try to do on my videos different things, and I'll have somebody call me up and say, hey, now I do it like this. Well, that's the way I normally do it too, but I wanted to show a different way of doing it. So what we're going to do on this one is we're going to use a Forstner bit to, let's see if we can, let me widen that out just a little bit there. We're going to use a Forstner bit to drill in the end of this, just to save time on hollowing. We're still going to have some hollowing, but we want to save just a little bit of time there so it doesn't drag out too long. So I'll go ahead and start with that. This is about a 2 3/8 inch piece of pecan. You see the lines there, that's approximately 3 inches right here. So that piece is about 6 inches long or so. We'll go ahead and start with drilling this. We're going to turn our speed down. We're running about 400 there, and that's not on the digital readout. That's just a dial saying that that's about what it is. When you doing the Forstner bit, especially I think. Hurry, come back out every once in a while.
Dean, I don't know about everybody else, but your audio's gone away.
Can you guys not hear me? Hello,
As you're drilling, we can't hear what you're saying.
Okay, so what it's probably doing is canceling out with Zoom. It will do that. So we'll just go through the drilling process, and then hopefully we don't have that problem. Drill the full depth of that portion of it. Okay, so mic check. Can you hear me now?
I got you. Blair.
Absolutely.
Good deal. I'm going to go ahead and put the live center back in here. I know y'all can't see that right now, but I'm going to put the live center back in. Put a cone on it so we can have that. We'll use that here in a little bit. We are going to go ahead and turn our speed up just a little bit. And I'm going to put a basic shape on the outside. Remember, we put our lines here so that we know where that bottom is. And the Forstner pit would not go that deep. However, we are going to go ahead and hollow it out that deep. So we're basically just getting a basic shape on the outside. And you look, we've brought that down on that outside. So we're in this section down here. We pretty much took the outside down to be our wall thickness there. We'll just get some of this out of our way. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to come in and hollow this out. Let's go ahead and stop it there. So the tape is marking how deep we're going to go. Some of you have made this tool here. It's the one that we've talked a lot about with the ball mill. And this is the one I made. So let's go ahead and slow the lathe down just a little bit. I'm always going to go in with that thing straight up and down. A little high.
Can you change your camera angle, Dean?
Try that one.
That'll work.
Like that better? Thank you. For some of you folks that were asking about too, if you can find help, sometimes it's very difficult to keep up with exactly where your camera is and what's going on there. So I'm going to stop this and go ahead and come back to this angle. You can see I ran in, and as you push this thing straight forward, it'll drill just like a drill bit. So once we've done that, we've got our depth established. With this tool, the more aggressive it gets. And I'm a little bit too close to the work there. We're just making a cut, and you'd be amazed at how smooth this thing cuts. A lot of your hollowing tools,
Oh, my, I'm just tuning in to see what's going on in my meeting.
We have a meeting? These days.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what.
Okay, let's use our calipers and see how thick we are there. Okay, we're good. Take out just a little bit more there. Now, before we get too far, let me go ahead. One other tool I really like for hollowing. This is a carbide, but it's got a cup tip on it. And when you put that in, basically you start it off with it straight up and down, not flat, but straight up and down. And as you turn it, it'll take a pretty good little cut out of there.
You're getting a shear cut with that cup. Is that right, Dean?
So hopefully you guys can see the angle I'm holding that tool at right there. Let's go ahead and double check that. We may be real close to where we need to be. Yeah. We're not quite to cade thickness there, so we'll take another cut or two. I don't want to disappoint him, you know. We're probably still just a little. What I like to do is get the inside shape so it's bigger in here and then it slopes down out here. And then once we do the inside, we'll come back in and we'll take a little bit more off the outside. Quick cut there. Okay. One of the things you will see is folks will take their sandpaper and they'll wad it up like this and they'll put it in here with their finger all up in there like that. Not with my finger. I don't do that. I've got a couple of videos on how to make these sticks. It's nothing but a dowel, a piece of foam with hook and loop the hook side on there so that you can put your sandpaper on there. And some of you folks might not believe this, but I haven't broke a finger doing this yet. course, let's see what we've got here. Just a little bit more sanding. I don't want this to be a sandy demo, but at the same time, and we can go through the grips with that. And any of you that are interested in doing these, like I said, I do have a video up. It's super simple to make. I use 5-minute epoxy, but hot glue will hold those well too. Not super smooth, but we're close enough there. We're going to call it done. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this cone up. All we're going to do with that cone is just stabilize that. You do not want to put any pressure on that. If you do, well, you'll cause yourself some problems. And we're rotating free. So we're going to go ahead and grab our skew, come in, okay. Gotta love that peeling cut when it sends those shavings down the throat like that. All right. Ah, not good, guys. That's what happens when you don't maintain that bevel. So we got to run back. We know we didn't go through because we're not seeing right to it. So let's see how we're doing there. Yeah, we almost got that out. Got one little cut right there. One of the things, guys, you see my left hand laying on top of that skew. My left hand's not controlling it. My right hand back on the back of it is. So let's take a look here. we got just a little bit. We could probably sand that out. However, that wouldn't really be fair, would it? Oh yeah, we got plenty of wood. Okay, so we'll hit it with some 220 and 320 here real quick. More or less to blend those two cuts and anything else. That was 220. Hit it with just a little bit of 320. It's all that good. We got a crack in that wood, so I can tell you that's where we're going to cut the top of that scoop off right there. We'll go ahead and come in at this point with a spindle gap. Right. Where that handle comes into the scoop, you don't want to get it too small. You want to keep enough there so you got some strength. Drop this tool rest just down just a little bit. And actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get a short tool rest for a minute. It'll be a whole lot better. probably a better view for you. Go ahead and put this one, the little 150 just to kind of that off that thing real quick. Come in with a little 220. And then hit it with just a little bit of 320. Guys, I don't know how well y'all can see this. I'm going to show you something real quick. This is 220 sandpaper. You don't see any dust at all coming off, right? This is 220 sandpaper. See all the dust flying? So what's the difference? One of them's worn out. Biggest favor you can do yourself while sanding is throw your sandpaper away before you've been throwing it away. Okay, guys. So if we look at this, it could be a goblet, right? Except we're not making a goblet tonight. We are going to make a scoop. So hey, y'all come on and follow me, okay? Let's go on over here just a second. Now, if we're going to be cutting on the bandsaw, you're going to be cutting something round. Everybody probably has these things in their shop. Probably don't use them a lot, and they're long. Let's go ahead and clamp the base of that. And so it makes it so much easier to show you guys what it looks like, and it does one other thing. Get your hand away from the bandsaw blade. Now let's look here, because I know I saw a crack in that wood. Right here. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do, since our crack is up here, we're going to go ahead and cut that out. We're going to turn our bandsaw off. I mean, with this clamp on here, now we have something that we can hold steady to the base. Wait a minute. I'm gonna go back over to the lathe. So hopefully, guys, we're starting to look like a scoop here, but we're certainly not done. Normally, I would do the sanding here on a belt sander. But tonight, I think we're going to try and do a use this little disc so we can do everything right here at the lathe. I know it's probably not
Can you
necessary.
move the camera down a little bit?
Ah,
Can you move the camera so we can see what you're doing?
sure can. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Perfect.
So what I did was I took the chuck off and put this chuck on that I've got a sanding disc mounted on. And I think this may be a better view for you guys. So now we'll go ahead and take the clamp off. Hopefully that's not too noisy, but I'm going to turn the suction on so it can suck some of this dust away. So turn that down just a little bit. And what we're going to do at this point, okay, so you can, like I say, this is a whole lot easier on a belt sander, but it's a whole lot easier to show you guys on here. Okay, once we've done that, we've got a scoop. The only thing we've got left to do is go right back over to the bandsaw. At this point, we have something flat to hold down on the table. Bring it on the bandsaw. We now have a scoop. All we got to do is take our disc sander, sand that, round that in just a little bit. Actually, we can probably. That's kind of rough and crude. I like to use those little softer pads that I use.
Hey, Dean, can you move the camera down again?
How's that?
Thank you. Perfect.
And so that gives you a nice little scoop. All you got to do is put a little finish on it, and it's ready to rock and roll.
Nice job, Dean.
Nice job,
Very,
Dean.
very nice, Dean. Thank you.
I like it.
You are most welcome. Sorry about the camera issues there, because in my head, you can see everything I'm doing.
Of course.
I can see it.
Looks good, Dean. Thanks.
Yep, very nice.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys. It's a simple little project, and I can tell you.
For a finish, what would you put on it for a finish with food?
This one has antique oil on it. I mean, sorry, excuse me. This one has walnut oil on it. And so I put walnut oil on these normally because you don't know if somebody's going to be dipping food and stuff with it. And it holds up well. The wife's been using this one for some time for, well, for the royalty in the house, the two cats.
I have a question about walnut oil.
Yes, sir.
Do people who have nut allergies, does that have an effect on people with nut allergies?
Okay, so from what I am told, the walnut oil that Mahoney's and Doctors finishes, what is that? It's Doctors something. I normally use the Mahoney's. It has been heat treated. Doctor's Woodshop, that's right. It's been heat treated, which kills the proteins in there, which cause the allergies. So I have been told by more than a few folks that it was safe for that.
Thank
You
you.
know, I have a granddaughter that has a severe nut allergy, and I won't risk it. I don't use walnut oil or anything for that very reason. If Mahoney's not brave enough to put on the label that it's hyperallergenic, I can't trust it either. So that's the way I look at it.
That's true.
Yeah,
there you go.
I got it straight from Mike Mahoney, and he said it is, but it's not on the label.
Well, and then
I
again, everybody's
I
got
have
to
a-
do what they're comfortable with.
Yeah, I have a pretty dramatic nut allergies myself, and walnut is included in that. And I have used walnut oil on similar things. I've got a goblet I tried it on, and I've got a scoop pretty much just like that we use for coffee, and it has not affected me. Within a few hours, I have a very strong reaction to anything that's got nuts in it, even something that's made in the same factory that's got nuts in it. And the walnut oil that I've used, which I think is the Mahoney's, did not affect me that way. So, but yeah, I fully support, and I was, careful with it. So I knew where my bed drill was.
I just make it a practice. If I used Mahoney's, I make sure that I tell any potential customers this uses walnut oil. But I was curious if anybody had an experience.
Yeah, I think that's a wise way to go.
That's one of the things. Anybody that buys any of my products, I tell them this is treated with walnut oil. This is how you care for it, and fully disclose what the finish is, especially if it's walnut oil.
Could you use mineral oil to this and get the same effect, the same type of finish from it?
I quit using mineral oil many years ago, and I know a lot of folks that do use mineral oil, but I did a bunch of cutting boards for my family, and I'd go back in their houses a year later and they were all dried out and they just looked bad. And of course, it's easy enough for a customer to get mineral oil and retreat it, but how many of them really do that?
Precious few.
Yeah. And with the walnut oil, I've got a dinner plate that I guess I'm 2 years eating lunch on it almost every day. And it gets washed every day, and I've retreated it once and it looks brand new.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, guys?
No, great demo. Great demo.
Well,
Thanks,
thank you
Dean.
so much. Thank you, sir.
And once again, I appreciate you doing the demo tonight, Dean.
Not a problem, brother. I wish I was here more often to do more. Wednesday's my day in the field, so I have to kind of rush back just to get to the meetings on Wednesday nights. But I told the boss I had something more important tonight.
There you go. Well, we'll get you booked for April.
There you go.
Give you plenty of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean.
You're welcome, guys.
Anybody else have any questions for our demonstrator tonight? No? All right, let's go back to Captain Eddie, and then we'll probably go back to some gallery.
Yes, we will go back to gallery, folks. If you want to show something, all you have to do is put it in the chat that I have something to show. Dane is our gallery master, and he'll call you up and introduce. Start talking. Dane, for next week, because you don't miss a chance to line them up, get our members into this game. Who is going to be demonstrating for us?
Next week, we got the one and only Trey. What he's
right.
doing, I'm not sure.
No, we can, because he's probably got Johnny as an indicted co-conspirator next week.
Yeah, maybe Johnny knows what he's doing, and lo and behold, I'm bringing Johnny up next here.
All right, well, let's nail him. Well, go ahead.
Johnny, talk to us.
I'm here. Okay.
There you are.
Yeah. Oh, I just had one little item I'd made, and let's see if I can get this camera going there.
Nice earbud.
Yeah, thank you. Let's see.
They work really well.
Yeah. See if I can get this thing working here. This is I got to get up high enough so you can see it here. And
pretty.
Made a heart shape.
Turn the light on real quick. Yes, that's a
there you go.
Heart-shaped piece of maple that I can get it focused in there. But it's yeah, it's dyed red on the outside, and it's still maple on the inside. But it's and it's finished with lacquer, spray lacquer. It's
very
looks good, Johnny.
That is
thank you. That's,
real nice.
that was one Valentine's, so I figured I'd do something kind of Valentine's. That's all I have.
Looks great.
You earned some.
Well, thank you.
Well, hey, Johnny, do you have any idea what Trey's going to do for a demo next week?
No, he was on here just a minute ago.
I'm still on here.
Oh, there he is.
He's still there.
Trey, what you doing for a demo next week?
Well, I thought I would do something, even though it's been a while since I've done it. I'm thinking about doing piercing. At least an introduction into piercing. It's something different. We haven't seen any demos on it. There's some people that have been doing some really nice stuff out there that probably do a better job than I do, but we'll go ahead and give it a shot.
Yeah, that'll work. Sounds good.
It's not, I don't think it's gonna be it won't be a super long demo, but it'll be, because I'm not gonna sit there and pierce for an hour, but I just want to show some different things and some patterns and stuff like that. So.
Right on. Sounds good.
Now, I'm getting really close to retirement. So are we talking like ears, nose, or am I going to pierce my lip? What are we doing?
Well, you got to, if you're in the military, they won't let you do it while you're in the military, will they?
No,
he's close to retirement.
Oh, hey, then I go all out for everything.
Get the tongue and everything.
All right, let's be careful here. We're family related, rated. Be careful. I mean, all of a sudden we'll be talking nipple rings and all. I don't know, but Doug, if you go that way, we don't want to see it. We don't want to know.
I'm thinking my next bikini day.
There you go. There you go. You got anything to show, Doug?
I do. I love playing sports, but I can't stand watching them. So I was not one of the guys on the couch watching Super Bowl on Super Bowl Sunday. Decided to go out to the shop and make a big Super Bowl.
There you go.
That's pretty.
Side because it's got the bark inclusion on it, and it's pretty plain Jane on the other side. But that's a big chunk of ponderosa pine.
That was one big chunk you started with too.
It really was. Yeah. I finally did get my logo on there. I didn't have that on there when I posted it on Facebook, but any
I
old,
I like how you left the pith in. Nice.
so kind of the pith, or it's a pith, but it wasn't the pith. This thing had, it was a big chunk with a lot of branches had come out of it in different directions. I initially thought I was going to be able to use that as a tendon, and then it didn't line up right and was kind of really falling apart. So I turned it down a lot more. This thing, like Brenda just said, it was a lot bigger. If you look on my Facebook, you'll see where it started. And then I got a question for you all. I was at a garage sale over the weekend and picked up a couple of boxes of just stuff that had random things in it. I have no idea what this wedge is for. Has anybody ever seen any? I mean, it's way too thin and small to be like for a chainsaw to be cutting down trees with. It says Cook Island, Illinois on it. Self-lock 4 degree.
Could
Yeah,
be
it
for
looks
a
like
plane.
like a spacer of some kind.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be a good conversation piece in the shop.
It looks like a shim for machinery, except I don't think I've ever seen one tapered like that.
Probably something for mining machinery.
Yeah, I see some online that have the slots in them like that are listed as shims.
Does a hand plane have something like that in it? I don't
No,
use it.
No, none of mine.
Not that thick. No.
And they're calling them setup shims or setup wedges.
I'm thinking that it's tapered because at one point it'll be sticking out from the machine on the floor, and that will give you one less tripping hazard.
Okay. Well,
meantime, it'll work great holding your sandpaper down when you're airing everything off.
Oh, I like that.
Use it on your lathe for an eccentric turning.
Hey,
Some of
Doug.
those times we come across those great garage sales. We walked up, and unfortunately, it was a widow. She'd lost her husband, and she told me, I got to talking to her for a little bit. He was 92, and the garage was just full of stuff, and they were just unloading it. And I picked up a few odds and ends and whatever. And I'd asked, I said, so do you have anything called wood turning tools? Did your husband have anything called a lathe? And she didn't really fully understand what I was talking about, but she says, downstairs in my basement, my husband had a full woodworking shop, but I don't have time to take people down there. I can schedule you a time if you want. You can come look. Yes, ma'am.
Right.
So going back on Sunday, I don't know what I'm fixing to see, but wish me luck.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, that would be a good
Hey, Doug.
find.
Hey,
That'd
Doug.
be a good score.
It'd be fun if nothing else.
I see these called a Jacob's wedge set. There should be more than one, and I see them used on Jacob's chucks to like lock them in place.
Oh,
around
to pop them out, yeah.
To maybe
pop them out of your drill press.
the chuck off the arbor or something like that. I see them on drill presses. Anyway, look up Jacob's wedge or Jacob wedge.
Well, it does say self-lock and it's got 4 degrees on it, so maybe.
Yeah, I see
Jacob's
6
wedge is
degrees
usually
ones.
tapered the other way, though.
Yep.
Usually are
They
the
go
wedge.
both ways.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, it goes around an arbor and interesting. Okay. The things you learn.
Yeah.
Things we do here.
That's cool. All right, well, let's go to Bob Clark.
I think
We
you
hear
need to
about
take
that-
us, you
we
need
don't
to
wanna
take
hear
your
about the
camera when you go on
conspiracy.
that visit and take us along with it.
I'll see if I can do that.
Okay.
Hey, Bob.
Hello. Yeah, I'm enjoying these meetings. I've just started about 3 or 4 weeks ago, so forgive me if I kind of hash over old territory. Last week we were talking a lot about lasers and platters and things, and a few years ago, my wife's in a women's club, and they make awards for people that do things during the year. And I said, well, I can make them a platter and I could take it to the local trophy shop and have them engrave it. And the local trophy shop here, I've done business with them for 40 years, so I know them real well. And one thing led to another, and I end up making about 20 or 30 of these things a year. And it's so much that I actually have 2 or 3 of them in line, so that if someone calls and needs one, I can turn it out real quick. But anytime anybody has an anniversary in our family or a wedding, or I make these platters. I take them over to the local trophy shop. He charges me $20 to engrave them. I just send him a PowerPoint file and he does it. I kind of thought about buying a machine, but I don't have the space for anything. My shop now, if I get another machine, I got to get rid of something. So here's another one I made not too long ago. And these have gotten so popular now that the brides, like my wife's family is a very large family, and they'll call and, can you make me one? So I generally go to the website for the bride generally and download what their theme is and have it engraved on a platter. And they seem to be real popular. During COVID, I learned a lesson though, because I had a wedding coming up and I had the platter all made and everybody came down with COVID. So they postponed it for 3 weeks. So I had to sand all the engraving off and have it redone. But here's one I just got back today. A friend of mine spent, well, he's been a problem with addiction now for about 50 years. And the last 10 years, he's been in AA, and he just finished his 10 years of sobriety. So this is his, I made a platter for him. I copied the 10-year chip from AA and I put his name up on the top, and on the back, I put the names of all of his friends that are wishing him well.
Oh, that's wonderful, Bob.
It is, that's nice.
Just
And
wonderful.
I used the World of Colors bronze finish on this with the activator to make it look old. And so I'm doing a lot of these now. So that's, I keep debating whether I want to buy a machine or not, but if I had a bigger shop, I probably would. But anyway,
In the house someplace?
what's that? In the house someplace?
Yeah.
Maybe my next wife will allow that.
After 5 or 6, it's paid for.
Exactly. That's what
Is that wives or machine or platters?
I've had the current wife for 47 years, so I'm not gonna press my luck.
Yeah, I think she's already paid for then.
Yeah.
She must like you.
But also with the trophy shop, I've known this family that runs the trophy shop since 1978, and it's almost like a family business, and we've got a relationship, and I would feel like I was betraying them, you know. So I just
Yeah,
I just
I
send
think
it
it's a
to
big
them.
deal to support local business too.
Yeah,
It
right.
really is.
Anyway,
That's great.
Yeah, I think that one with the the chip in it or whatever, you know, that where the guy
This one?
had, yes. No, the last one you showed where the guy earned his 10-year chip.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, that is sweet. That
Well-
and a good idea.
Yeah,
Love that.
I got online and I found the AA 10-year chip, and I couldn't really transfer it directly to the PowerPoint file, so I just recreated it. And so that's how I got that.
Real nice idea. Love that idea.
And then
Beautiful.
I got a hold of his ex-wife, and him and his ex-wife are still best friends. So that was good. And she gave me a list of names, plus I had a list of other people that have known him for all these years. And we all wished him well and put congratulations and how we're proud of him. And in keeping with the AA theme, we just used first names, but that's why there's so many names on the back of it. So
that's neat.
Good work, Bob.
Thank you.
Right on. Thank you. All right, let's go to Joaquin.
Very nice.
Hey, Joaquin.
Joaquin.
Hi, sorry, I had to unmute. Okay, so I've been busy. Made a
Ooh,
little
nice.
magic wand. this
nice.
maple blew down in my yard during a hurricane 2 years ago. And I left it out back behind the carport in the rain and let it spalt. And I hacked the end off of it to make a pen for the landlord because the tree it fell out of has meaning to her. And when I opened it up, I was pleasantly surprised at how well it is spalted. Then I tried to make a vase out of a piece of it Monday for Valentine's Day, and it's a little too spalted. So that's just walnut and maple. And some of the most dramatic spalting I've found. That's pretty nice.
It's spectacular. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. My grandson would love that.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah.
Hint.
But you know what?
I couldn't be subtle, you know?
You know something you could add to a wand? You could put a little piece of horsehair back inside of it or something like that, following the Harry Potter theme, you know, of what the core of it is. You could say that's horsehair core. Just put a single horsehair in it or something like that. When you glue it up, it's glued up inside of it, but you can still advertise it with, you know, having a core to it.
Yeah. There's a turner who I follow on TikTok who calls himself Colivander, and he makes wands, and the vase with spirals, he does something similar. He calls them lover's knot wands, where he takes two wands and as a square, he uses a drum sander and he carves spirals into them and they interlock. And his work is just stunning. And I'm going to try to drag him to a meeting so he can show you guys his wands, because what he does is absolutely amazing. It really is. I'd love to have him do a demo and teach people how he does it, because it's incredible.
What's his name, Joaquin?
I don't know his I just know his TikTok name, which is Colivander. I need to talk to him, and I'm going to try and get him into a meeting because he needs to share what he does. His stuff is incredible. It's some of the most beautiful work I've seen. I mean, he's a genius with a spindle. Just period. Man's a genius with a spindle.
Love to see it. That'd look good.
Yeah, I'll talk to him, see if I can convince him to come here in the next few weeks. So another thing I did Sunday, I'm not a football person either, but I figured, you know, a lot of people are going to be watching a game. A lot of people like to have a cold beverage, and a lot of people like beverage koozies. So just as a kind of an exercise to challenge myself, I like these low calorie light beers. I turned a koozie.
Wow.
Nice
and,
fit.
Exactly what I was thinking. Very nice.
Now, here's the thing. I had, when I posted this on social media, I had some guy from the steel factory say, well, that's going to jam when the can gets warm and everything. And I've been testing it for a couple of days. And what I figured out tonight, what I realized is when this can goes in cold, it makes the wood cold, and the wood contracts to meet the can. And as it warms up, I don't know why, but walnut and aluminum seem to expand at about the same rate when they warm. So this fit stays all the way to a warm can. And the only difference is when the can's empty and it's warm, it doesn't weigh enough and it goes down slower because it builds up an air pocket in the bottom, and there's enough pressure that it'll actually rest about that high with the air built in. But that's how tight the fit is. So I was pretty proud of myself.
Does it last long enough inside the koozie to get warm?
That's what I was going to say. I mean,
that's a good question.
You shouldn't have an opportunity to get warm.
How did that happen, right?
Not very warm.
That's along the lines of my whole objection to wine bottle stoppers. Who has leftover wine?
Right. Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Just like who has leftover bacon.
True story.
So if anybody is a whiskey drinker, you're probably familiar with the Glencairn, which is a specially shaped whiskey glass with a wide bulb and a narrow nose so that you get scent. and it actually concentrates the flavor and the scent. Well, I can't call this a Glencairn, and this is not proportionate because that is patented. But this is a Glencairn style whiskey glass. And the only thing I've put on it is a finish is beeswax. So this is cherry. This is just a lovely piece of cherry.
Very nice.
Very lovely piece of cherry. And
If I had that much whiskey, I'd be okay.
no, you only put about that much.
Yeah.
But
Hey, was that the one that you showed on your TikTok video? The whiskey was coming through when you were explaining that whole
no,
thing?
that was my maple one. I'll show you my maple one. It's not the same shape. This is my.
Yeah, I made some of those a couple years back on for custom order. Customer ordered 5 or 6 of them. 5. Why 5? I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah. So this is mine, and this is my shape. And I was thinking a lot of the thistle, the Scottish thistle, which is why I designed it that way. That's kind of the traditional shape. But
excellent.
The maple, I haven't tested cherry. This is for a customer, and I'm going to keep in contact with her and get direct feedback about how it does. This actually bleeds through the whiskey. If you leave whiskey in there longer than 10 minutes, it bleeds through. And that's, I say, a good and a bad thing. Just like in an oak barrel, the maple wood imparts a little bit of a maple flavor into the whiskey. So to me, it's not a bad thing that the whiskey's bleeding through because I get a little flavor. But if you left this for half an hour, all the whiskey be on the table. Again, I guess like with the koozie, does whiskey last in there that long? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. So this is a cocktail smoker from a whiskey barrel stave. And actually the 2 pieces are from, actually it goes this way. This is right next to each other on the stave. So you can see I left the natural patina of the outside of the barrel. This is a screen. There's a screen in there from a head shop. This is the barrel char. And then I charred this to match. So to kind of disguise my tenon, that's actually the whiskey barrel char. And then those are shavings from this piece of stave. So you just put your shavings in there, put it on your glass, put ice in the glass so the glass is cold. You hit it with a little chef's torch, and because it's cold in the glass, it draws the smoke down in. Then you cover it, and that forces the smoke down in, and then your whiskey tastes like smoke. That's a customer order. And then today I started a project. I don't know. I just turned 50 10 days ago. So growing up in the 80s, I remember stories of people inheriting old 4-poster beds from their grandparents. And, you know, they'd be moving the bed and the finial would rattle loose. They'd pull the finial off and there was $1,000 in Confederate bills in there or something. I remember reading stories about this multiple times in the 80s. So I've always had a fascination with the finials of old 4-poster beds. And now that I am a wood turner, I've been thinking about the shapes of those finials. And so I decided I'm starting a series of wooden boxes, of lidded boxes. And the goal is that they're each going to progress and be a shape of a kind of a different finial. I'm going to carve a pineapple, you know, the whole 9 yards, but they're all going to be lidded boxes that you might have found, you know, a few gold coins hidden in there or something. So this is the first one. And again, this is to kind of emulate the finial on the top of the posts of the 4-poster bed.
Nice.
And so that's my first one, and I'm going to do a series of them, and I may never sell them. These may just be something that I am doing for myself as a fun project.
I love that
my one.
What kind of wood is that?
That's walnut. There's a tiny bit of the sapwood, but that's walnut. And this is finished with for a piece like this, I do a kind of a funny process. I sand it to 400, hit it with Axe abrasive paste, put 3 coats of Obi shine juice on it, cut the shine juice back with Brad's Workbench abrasive paste, and then I used his tongue honey, which is an off lathe finish, and put the final finish on it. And I just finished it tonight, so the outside finish is probably got about 3 days before it really starts to polymerize. But this will end up. This is the same finish, and this is just a fantastic finish. I just love the way it feels. You still feel the wood, but it's not. I can stick it under the sink and water just runs off of it.
Beautiful looking, really.
Thank you.
Nice
That's
work,
about all I've got.
Or nice.
Very
nice.
I got something to say though. Can I say something?
Sure.
I love your work, and I think you are like right up there at the top with Cade. Okay, love your work.
Thank you.
Nice, very nice.
Right on, Brenda.
I agree. I agree.
Is
My turn,
Matt
huh?
in the hot seat?
Matt, you're up.
Okay, I was rooting through a box and ran into some things that when goblets break, I just finish them.
Yeah.
And make little cups out of it.
That's great. That's beautiful.
So this is this is spalted maple or spalted box elder, I think. It's got some interesting sort of colors.
Love that wood.
Yeah, me too. So I did a demo Sunday for the Blue Water Turners Club, which is about an hour away from me. And they asked me to do an offset natural edge bowl demo that I do. And that's the piece I turned in the demo. So it's an end grain bowl. And it's not finished.
Wow, that's nice.
Looks like a heart.
It's
Very
unbelievable.
nice.
You kept that bark on there. That's amazing.
This is silver maple. The bark, it's dried out a little bit in the last couple days, so there's a little bit of exfoliation in here. I don't know if y'all can see that, but I'll fix that with super glue tomorrow. But the way I do this basically is when I put it in the chuck at the very beginning to turn the tenon, is I tilt it a little bit, and that way you get a sort of an asymmetrical bark situation, and it adds to the character of the piece. So anyway, just wanted to show that. Thanks.
Very
nice. Right on, Matt.
Hey, Matt, are those knives or swords that are behind you?
Those are Native American flutes.
Oh man, cool.
So several of these I've turned myself, made myself. This is one I decorated myself and carved the bird myself also.
Wow.
So these are a lot of fun, and I play them. It's one of my obsessions. So that's what they are.
Sounds like a good demo.
Let's hear some free bird. Free bird.
I don't know. This one's got a great sound. So.
Wow.
I'm a little out of practice.
Oh man, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
My pleasure. They're a lot of fun. I love them. Like one of them I traded a guy for. So and one of them was one of those on that rack back there is the first one I ever made, which was a cherry and walnut one. First one I ever got successfully in tune. So there's a part of it that's this one here is literally the first flute. I probably made this, I don't know, 10 years ago. But the bird is walnut and the body is cherry, and it was cord, and there's some Celtic wood burning and stuff on there. And there's a part of this on here that's a little too thin. It's basically just finish. I don't know if you can see that. There's no wood there left. So, this one also plays, I think it's in the same key.
Wow.
So they're
Oh,
fun.
that's great. Demo.
Yeah, it's the boring doesn't. They're made in two pieces. The way you make these is you do some routing. So that you cut them in two pieces. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, you can't. made side by side. So there's a sound chamber that goes from this part all the way to the end. That's one channel. And then there's a second sound chamber in here that you route out also. And so when you blow in this end, the sound comes up underneath the bird here and across the sound flute there to make the sound in here. So it helps you regulate the sound and so on. It's pretty technical. So
sounds like an art.
Yeah, it's interesting. And the hardest part, I mean, the hardest part is not turning them and not getting them right. The hardest part is tuning them right, because you start off with small holes and then you widen them until, you know, with a little like guitar sound thing, you widen the holes until you get them to the right place, and you have to work your way. Like these holes down here, this is in the key of E, okay? And so these holes here make the flute in the key of E. So if all the holes covered, I get an E. And it's actually an E3, E4. And then you start with this hole here, which is the next note up, F, G, A, B, C, D, and so on. So
wow.
And you have to work each hole up, and you start with a small hole, and then you widen it one way or widen it another way, depending on how close it is to the actual note. And you use a guitar tuner to figure out, make it right.
Boy, I tell you what, that's amazing. It's really incredible where woodworking and other interests take you, and how you can combine all of them together and make something beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And these are a lot of fun to make. And this one here that I made is all white cedar. And carving this, I mean, this started off as a rectangular piece of wood. And I carved it, and that is cool. So
that's
beautiful.
Very cool.
Good fun.
Thank
Right
you,
on.
Matt.
Thank you, Matt. All right, let's go to Trey.
Okay, well, I can't see my own video right now because can you see anything?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're looking right at the piece.
Okay. This is a little piece of holly, came out of a branch. I picked up some holly this last weekend, and I thought I'd try turning it. And this is, I haven't finished sanding it, but it was just a little thin piece, something I just recently turned. I haven't been doing too much turning, but getting some feathering in it and everything else. So.
Oh, that's nice.
Don't sand too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks
Well,
good.
I sanded it down to 220 right now. I need to go ahead and take it on down. I just threw a coat of Danish oil on it though, so.
That's nice. Very
Beautiful.
nice. Nice and thin.
Beautiful piece.
And it's getting down to, it's a K, pretty close to K thickness, maybe a little thick, but.
Yeah.
I'd snap that thing in half. Yeah.
It's an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, but holly really turned real well. I don't think I've ever turned it, but green holly, it just peeled right off of it. Very clean peeling cuts.
Like butter.
Yeah.
Nice.
And if you let it age, it'll start turning a bluish gray too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Age in the log or after it's turned and finished?
No, the log.
The log.
As it sits
okay.
there, it'll start turning bluish gray.
Well, I just got some 14-inch logs out of holly. So.
Is that
Oh, wow.
spalting the blue gray?
Wow.
Is that spalting?
Yes.
I don't,
Yeah. It's when holly dries and starts to spalt, it goes a bluish gray.
it's really a pretty color.
Very
It
nice.
doesn't really get the lines like maple does. Most of the wood just goes a bluey gray. It might
Right.
actually be more like mineral staining, similar to like pine or fir.
Yeah.
Interesting. Right on, Trey. Thank you. All right, let's go to David Kingsley in New York. David.
Hey, here I am.
There you are.
Got me?
Yep.
Yeah, well, when I retired a couple years ago, I sort of created a little tradition for myself. Is every year our church ordains new pastors. And so what I've done is I make them individual communion sets. And I actually used my laser engraver for this one.
How about
There you
that?
go.
And it's
That's
a little
great.
set. And they're both out of yeah, ash.
Okay.
And
Love it.
this one, it's very dry, very, very chippy, but it came out all right. And the chalice is finished with a little bit of shellac on the outside and carnauba wax.
Okay.
Very nice. I love the shine.
Came out nice.
Very nice.
And I've been working on finials. I've mentioned that before. And last week I had a hollow form, and I made the world's ugliest finial.
That's not ugly.
Wouldn't say that.
I don't think so.
Can you show us? We only see a nice one.
Yeah, where's the ugly one at?
Yeah.
Well,
That's fine. It's proportional. It gets bigger and smaller.
yeah.
Looks
But
good.
I decided that hollow form needed a finial, but
Looks
I'm
good.
not really happy with it. But I'm glad everybody else likes it. And
I think
that's
kind of has like a Middle Eastern look to it, like the domes and stuff that I saw when I was over there.
yeah. And this is dogwood.
Well, one thing about it, we are all our own worst critics, so you're probably in good company there.
Yeah, you're right on par. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't like it, you can send it to me because I love it.
I just might. But that's it for this week.
All right. Thanks, David. All right. Let's go to everybody's favorite in Texas, Mr. Tim Hatch.
Well, I don't know about favorite or not, but you know, I can't
Come on, I gotta
stand.
build. I'm building you up. Just roll with it.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I
Go
can't,
for
I
it,
can't
Tim.
stand watching the Super Bowl. Not going to get all political on that, but I figured I'd go out and play with my skew and change the grind on a little bit. So to get myself in the 2x4 club, that was the one I got the run back on that I mentioned earlier. So I made a couple little 2x4 eggs. Wife seems to like them. They're, you know, she's got a bunch of chickens. Then turned a piece of cedar.
Love it.
You know, again with, you know, no finish on them, just pretty much just a little sanding sealer. And then I piece of mesquite there. This one's got a little character with some bug holes and such. And then earlier I'd gone to Andy's Corners Creations and watched a video on making chickens.
There you go. That's cute.
Got this little chicken, another 2x4 chunk here, and turned his little beak, and then I turned his eyes. His eyes are buttons with a stem on them, and then drilled them and put it in there. So made the wife a little chicken there just to make her day. But
So what came first, the chicken or the egg?
the eggs came first on that one. But then I've got a guy that works with me. Well, not with me. He works on base at Camp Swift there, and his granddad had an old oak tree back in Ohio that had these beautiful burls. I got 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
This one here's got a heck of a hole inside of it. And the deal was, he gave me 4. He wants me to make a bowl out of one of them, and I get the rest for free. So
Neat.
There you go. Good
a
sport.
little. So for the folks that have turned burls with holes like that, I'm thinking that I would probably take and rest that hole against that leather faceplate, and then put my live center in the back end. That way I could have friction drive so I could turn the tenon on the back.
There you
What's
go.
y'all's opinion on
Yeah.
that one?
That's a good way
Absolutely.
to do it. Or
Yep.
you could turn a small little plug that will actually fill that hole, fill that recess.
Yeah, it's too big for my number 2 jaws on my chuck, and just a little bit too small for the biggest jaws. So yeah, I could fill it maybe with a dowel and then go that route. That might be another
You
option.
can turn a cone and put in your
Yeah.
chuck.
Yeah,
Like an old
The way
fence
it
post.
fits on the
Take
cone.
yeah, and that kind of, you know, that hole kind of slopes down at a strange angle. So that might be some interesting turning. So when I figure that out, I will get back with you. But I'll be out of town for another week or two. So you know, I'm just bouncing back and forth training the guard. So that's what I got.
All right,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Good job.
I thought the chicken was kind of cute. I thought Brenda would get a kick out of it.
Yes, I love that chicken. Hey, what does the bottom of it look like?
The bottom is just flat. Yeah,
Flat.
but
Can I give you an idea? Suggestion?
Yes.
How about if you use a Forstner bit or whatever, maybe, and put a hole in the bottom of it, and then turn a little tiny egg that'll fit in there, and sit it on the table. When you pick up the egg or the chicken, you know, and there's an egg sitting under it.
Drops the egg.
That is a cute idea, Brenda. That is a cute
Bottle
idea.
stopper.
But yeah, I might try that. That is funny.
Next week.
But Andy's Cornish Creations on YouTube is where I got the idea on turning that chicken. He has a couple other critters that he makes also, and I figure with Easter coming, grandkids and everybody like that stuff, so be a good turn of thing. So, all right,
Yeah,
that's all I got.
Thank you,
All
Tim.
right, thank you.
Hey, Tim,
All
can
right.
you hold that chicken up again and let me take a picture of it?
Sure.
Yeah, hold on a minute so I can bring Tim back up.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, turn him sideways once. There, now, yeah, let me all
Yeah,
right.
out of
Now,
my face there.
yeah, now I got him. Thanks.
All right, and again, there's a 45 profile.
All right, hold it. Got it. Thanks.
All right.
All right.
Y'all have fun.
Hey,
I
Scott.
like the egg idea.
I think that, Tim, you probably put a jelly bean in there.
There you go. That'll work.
A white jelly bean.
You can have all kinds of fun with that, actually.
So after Cade's great demo this weekend, I decided to make some pens.
Ooh, very nice.
So that's
nice.
Resin and cholla cactus combined.
Very nice.
That's very nice. That's cool.
Then
Did
I made
you use a pressure pot?
no, actually I cheated Kate. I bought it from somebody else.
Oh, okay, cool. That's all right.
Then I made 2 bird's eye maple pens, which you probably can't see the bird's eye real well. There you go. Maybe there's a little better.
Yeah, a little bit. Yep. Yep. Cool.
Then I made a teak burrow.
Ooh, nice.
This is, I believe it's called Zycoat.
Yeah.
Zircody.
Zirconia.
Cody, yep. And then this a guy I work with comes from Missouri, and he had some Osage orange he brought home and gave me.
Very
nice.
Wow.
So
You've been
I
busy.
did those Saturday afternoon in a couple hours.
What do you use for your finish?
Very nice.
It's 2 coats of tight bond medium CA. And then I polished with McGuire's 105 car polish.
Very nice.
Cool. Very nice.
Where'd you get your pen kits?
I actually got these through Woodcraft, but Beartooth Woods actually has them cheaper, so that's where I got those from. They're actually the same as the Sierra kit. So you get the Sierra Elegant kit.
Very nice.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Scott.
Yep.
All right. Let's go to Great Northwest here. North Central.
Hey, Kate, I got a question for you.
Sure.
I have the same mask you have. The Eclipse.
The Eclipse, yeah.
Yeah. How do you know when to change the filter?
If you can taste the dust when you breathe, you
Okay.
need to change the filter. You can bang them out a couple times. I don't recommend blowing them with a air compressor, because the air compressor, the pressure behind the air compressor can actually separate and damage the filter. So I don't recommend blowing it with any pressure, or even vacuuming it with a vacuum. Sometimes the pressure from a vacuum can actually separate the fine paper type particle filters, and then it won't filter properly. So I don't vacuum them out or spray them out with any pressured air. I just take them. These are pretty much due for a change. These elastics are pretty worn out. So I did get a new one for Christmas, but I would just usually bang these out a few times. But yeah, if you can taste the dust,
Okay.
you're inhaling dust if you can taste the dust. So that's when I would change the filters. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. All right, so I have a couple things to show. I remember a couple weeks ago I did a demo on turning hair sticks, and then I did the double dye technique, and I said they really pop when you really get a nice finish on them. So I have them all shined up so we can actually see all the different layers of color through them. So here's the red fiery ones that I turned in the demo.
Ooh. Very
So
nice.
they're all shined up so you can really see how that color really pops in the light now.
Real pretty, real pretty.
And
If
then
I'm
the
correct, you
purple,
put the red on first, right?
yes, the darkest color first, and then work up to your lightest color. So that was a double dye. The purple ones I showed, they were almost too dark to show up on camera, but now that they're shiny, you can really see the blue, the reds, the purples. It's almost like lightning bolts as it goes through the calm before the storm. So that was baby blue, and then sanded back and red. So the
That's
red
like a
took on the
marble.
color, some of the red mixed with the blue, creating purple. And then some of the red really came through in the chatoyance. The other one's much better with the red, but you get a good variation between the two. And then the other one I showed was a 4-dye. So this one I did green, then I did blue, then I did red, then I did yellow. So now you can really see the blue, the green mixes, gets teal. You can see the red, you can see the yellow, and it really makes it pop with the chatoyance and the color or character within the wood. So I thought I'd show those.
It's beautiful.
Because now they really pop with the shine. And then I had a demo on the weekend. So I have two pieces to show. This is the piece I did in my run through, my dress rehearsal the day before, just to make sure I get all my cameras right and I get the cadence of my my spiel down. So that's the one I did Friday morning. The body of this hollow form is cherry. The collar is African red mahogany, and it's inlaid with aluminum or aluminium, as they say in England. It's turned to 1/8 of an inch wall thickness all the way to the base. And then the one I turned in the demo, this one I turned in the demo, it's a little taller. It's a piece of cherry. The top is roasted ash. And it doesn't have the flared neck like the one I just showed you, because with the roasted ash, if you go too thin, it creates a design opportunity. And it sort of crumpled when I went to pressure chuck this or jam chuck this because the roasting process makes the wood brittle if you go too thin. So it was a design opportunity. So I took off the flared curled part of the neck and I just blended it into the curve. And I actually like it better with the color contrast between the woods in this form. Now this is roasted ash. And again, I did 5 dots. And that's 1/8 of an inch wall thickness as well. So yeah, there was a little bit of a design opportunity, but it was great to see what can happen and how to fix it, modify on the fly, right? So I have a bit of a waiting list and I have many orders. I've been busy being a daddy and daddy daycare and stuff. So I got into the shop today and I did an urn. So I got a commission for an urn for a friend, colleague, fellow woodworker. So this is the urn I created today. Now this is maple for the body of the urn. It's 1/8 of an inch wall thickness all the way to the base. It's 10 inches tall. The lid is roasted ash. And I did the 5 dots of aluminum. Now this is an RCMP officer. He was a police officer. So the reason behind the 5 dots is it's the 5 points of a sheriff crest. So it sort of incorporates law enforcement with the 5 dots. And then for the finial, I used a piece of Carigana, which I haven't seen in lumber yards anywhere. I don't even know if you can buy it, but it grows wild on my family cattle ranch out west. So my grandfather and I, we went around on the acreage of the big farm and we harvested a whole bunch of this wood. And it's mainly used for windbreakers in between the fields and around the farmhouses. But you can see the beautiful color within that finial. It's a canary red with yellow grain stripes. No, canary yellow with red grain stripes. And then with the heartwood, it's very purplish as it mixes with the reds and the yellows. So I thought that was fitting for an eternal flame for the top of the finial.
It's nice.
And this, it's turned to 1/8 of an inch wall thickness here. Kind of hard to see in there, but
Beautiful.
Real pretty, Kate.
Here's
That's
my
beautiful,
light.
Kate.
Very nice.
Thanks. Here we are.
Very clean.
Oh,
Nice
yeah,
job,
very
Kate.
nice.
Yeah. Oh. Well, that didn't work too well, but there we are.
There you
We
go.
can see in there. So.
Kate, have you measured the capacity of that?
Yeah. Well, I didn't use the thing on the website, but it is very useful and handy tool. I just made this from sort of scratch and size of repetition of sort of the ones I've made before. So with this size and this shape and hollowed to 1/8 of an inch wall thickness, this will hold a 195-pound person. Now the individual is 185 pounds, so I have an extra 10 pounds to play with just in case he gained a little weight or not. But so that's it from me for this week.
That'll work. Thank you, Cade. Nice stuff.
Hey, I got a question for Cade.
Go ahead.
Cade, could you use plastic rod for those inlays instead of aluminum? You know, I have some acrylic plastic rod that's only like 1/8 inch diameter. Would that work for that too, or would it be too brittle?
I don't know. I've never tried it. I've never used it, but I imagine it would work. You'll just have to be careful sort of in tapping it into the recess to inlay it, because it might be brittle or break, and then cut it as close as you can to the surface before you turn it flush, because you don't want them breaking or tearing below the surface. But it would be worth a shot. I mean, it would probably work. You would just have to do light cuts.
I thought about sanding them close to the surface and then turning them with a carbide negative rake tool.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that would work. Yep. You could use a carbide. You could use a bull gouge or a shear scrape. If you use a carbide, make sure you angle it so you have a shear scrape. You're going to have less drag and a better finish. I would almost use my bull gouge and a shear scrape.
Yeah.
So it would be on an angle like this. And then the shavings come across on that angle like a skew, minimizing the resistance and the drag, especially with brittle material. You want less drag and less resistance with the more brittle the material is. So I would sort of offset that on a shear scrape, and then the fiber comes across on that angle, lessening the resistance and the drag, giving you a cleaner cut. But it is possible with carbides as well. But if you use your carbide, definitely. So I have my carbide here straight up and down right now, pointing to the ceiling. Here, let me see. I would sort of offset it slightly. There, that's a little better. So rather than straight up and down, I would sort of angle it so I would get that shear scrape as the fibers come across on that skewed angle. And you would get a much better finish. Less likely to break any fragile material or get an unexpected catch.
That's how I turn my acrylic pens, is with a carbide on an angle, a negative rake on an angle like that, and I don't get as much chip out then. So
Yeah,
that works.
Could be okay then.
Yeah, that'll work well then. That'll work perfectly. If you're doing it that way, yeah, just keep doing it that way and you'll have no problems at all.
Well, if I get one made, it turns out I'll bring it to show.
You should be able to inlay. You should be able to inlay anything into a circle that you cut. It could be turquoise or anything you want to inlay into it.
Yep.
Right.
Thanks,
Hey,
Kate.
do you use the index of the lathe to lay out those holes?
Yes.
And how do you keep the drill bit straight? You just go in 90 degrees, or do you use a jig?
A lot of practice. Well, there are jigs out there. I mean, Robert Sorbet makes a drilling jig that goes into your banjo. You can also make your own. If you know a welder, you can get those drilling sleeves or those drilling guides, and you can make your own by welding it to a sacrificial tool rest. I just sort of eyeball it and do it by hand with my hand drill. But you have to be very careful and precise on your repeatability. So you always want to have that at a perfect right angle, entering the piece always at the same angle and the same position every time. But that takes a bit of practice. It also depends on the wood. The softer the wood, the more likely you're going to get that bit that's going to wander on you. The harder the wood, the cleaner the hole you're going to get. But you can use jigs, but you don't have to. But it just takes a little bit of practice if you don't use jigs.
Mike Walt used built a little wood thing that uses the drill guides that fits into his banjo. Very simple to make, and used for drilling on the index on the lathe. So you don't have to weld anything up. You just basically insert the drill guide into the little banjo thing. I'll post a video to that where I find it here, because he did a video on YouTube about how to make it. Yep, there it is. Okay.
Last week I showed wagon wheels that I made. And I just made a table to sit on my banjo, and I laid the drill bit flat on that table and went in 90 degrees to the wheel to drill out for the spokes. And it was very simple, very easy.
Now,
That's
know,
a good
one
way
other-
to do it. A platform would really make it more stable and repeatable at that same angle.
Correct.
One other thing that works real well for that. Craftsman made it, I'm sure some other companies made it. They made a jig that converted a hand drill into a mini drill press many years ago. And the drill just clamped into it and it operated as a drill press. Well, most of the shafts on those are 1 inch. And a 1 inch shaft will fit into your banjo, and you can adjust it any which way, fashion, form that you want, and you can pick them up at yard sales or junk yards and everything else for $20 or so.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
I
General
got one.
Tool still makes them.
Another thing you can do is if you have one of these box tool rests, that is a good platform for laying your drill.
That looks just like the wooden one I made. Yes.
Angled like that, and you can go in at the same angle every time.
I laid the drill bit right on that flat.
Yeah, I would sort of probably lie the gun on here flat, because then it would be repeatable at the same height and the same angle every time. But I don't know, I've done so many, so I sort of just hold it with this hand and stabilize it and then line it up 50 or at 90 degrees. And I just make sure I always enter at the same angle on all 5, 6, 7, 3 holes, however many holes I decide to use. Yeah. Another thing is if you have the drill blocks or the drill blocks or the drill guides, I would also sit right on here. You could probably even clamp it. And then you could drill, just set that to your perfect height and you drill the same way every time. It's just a scrap piece of wood, but if it was a drill block, you could use it in that way as well.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Thank you.
Good info, folks. Good info. All right, let's go to Glenn.
Glenn, you're with us, sir.
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, keep talking. I got you.
You got me? Okay. Okay, usually the last couple of years I've been I usually turn something for my daughter for Valentine. So I turned her a vase. I believe it's out of hackberry, and I turned some different flowers. I got the ideas for the flowers from, I watched one of Mike Peace's videos, and this one's out of Osage orange. This one is out of cherry. This one down here is out of cedar. And then the small one is out of pink ivory.
Nice. Very nice.
I did those. And then I did some out of just the first ones I just did them out of from a 2x4. And I tried, and then the other ones I did a little more scalping to it. But these were just out of 2x4s, and I used red leather dye. And I did another one where it's the petals were out a little more, and on the bottom I used the red leather dye, and then I used some yellow dye on top. And while they were still wet, I got a cloth and just went over them and just tried to blend them in to give it a little bit different, a different effect.
It looks
So-
great.
Love that.
So those were so little, they're real simple to do. And I saw, that was, like I said, it was Mike Peace's YouTube video. And I think Carl Jacobson had one like that too.
Yeah, yeah, they don't wilt, don't require water, and the cats can't knock the petals off.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless you knock them off the table.
Right, yeah, right. Yeah, they can do that. Yep. I know mine could.
All right.
Very nice.
That's
Glenn.
all I have.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very nice.
Thank
All
you.
right. Let's go to, oh, this guy. So I finished my Butterbell. So the
I like-
external is mesquite. And then the bell portion is some of that mystery white wood that I've got. I have no idea what it is, but I dyed it, as you can tell.
Very nice.
And then so on the inside is where you put your butter at. You put a little bit of water on the inside to make the seal. And so when you pull it out, this sits on top of the table. You can pass it around, whatever. When you're done, dump your water out, put a little bit more in there, put it back in. You got an airtight seal.
Wow. Can you see yourself in that finish?
Absolutely.
Yes, that is gorgeous.
That's gorgeous.
Man.
Really nice.
Really
So what's
gorgeous finish on that, Dane.
So I was going to sell that, but the Fraulein, she claimed it.
That happens a lot around my house.
What finish do you use?
Mine too.
So this is Spar Europe. Well, so Bold linseed oil I use as my sanding sealer. And then on the inside, I did 1 coat of Parfix 3408. And then on the outside and then on the inside, I followed it up as 4 coats of Spar urethane. And then on this, it's the same, 1 coat of Parfix on the outside, nothing on the inside. And 4 coats of Spar on the outside.
Dane, where did that idea come from? Is that old history or from foreign country or what?
So I grew up with a Butterbell.
Okay.
So my parents were Dust Bowl children. They were born in the early 20s. And so on the farm, my mom always had a Butterbell because we had our own, we had our own dairy and everything like that. She made her own butter and, and so always grew up with one, but I've never seen one. And I don't know, I got the inkling to make one. And initially, one of my wife's mother's friends back in Kentucky had asked if I knew how to make one or if I knew what one was. And I don't know, she was probably in her late 70s, early 80s. And so initially that's what I'd made it for, was to sell to this woman. But consequently I got to make another one. But this one's been taken. And of course her mother has already said that she wants one as well. So, but yeah, it's an old school thing, I guess.
It's cool.
But yeah, that's what I grew up with, for the butter on the table, butter on the countertop. That way it's always soft, but at the same time, you don't have any livestock getting onto it, while it's sitting out on the countertop, with flies or anything like that. But yeah.
That's great.
We had those in Germany, Dane.
Do what?
We had those in Germany when I was overseas.
Oh yeah.
That was a standard thing in most of the little restaurants and that type of thing. So I believe it's Europe.
Well, yeah, you're right. Now that I think about it, when I look back to time in Germany and Holland, in restaurants, yeah, they had something very similar as well for their butter. Yeah, you're exactly right.
We've had something similar to that in Wisconsin. My grandma had something like that too on the farm.
Yep.
Yeah, same. My grandma had something like that.
It makes
But-
sense. Mhm.
Right?
Beautiful.
Yeah, maybe we can get a comeback on it, you know?
Yeah.
But that's what I've got.
I got a few minutes left. Now let's pop, see if we can get one or two quick demo galleries here. Who we have? Quick.
Well, let's see, Doug popped in, said he's got something else he'd like to show. So Doug,
Real quick, there it is.
Oh,
Piece of
nice.
cherry. That was a bit. It was a half log that's been sitting around. I wasn't real sure what it was till I got it on the lathe and started turning it and saw it was cherry. Got a bit of movement in there. There are some. There you can see a couple of light holes going through, but those are natural voids that were in the wood. So relatively thin. It's a little less than a 1/4 inch, closer to an 1/8, I guess. But there it is. That was
That's
fun.
gorgeous. Do you cut it out before you turn or after you turn?
I turned the half log to a disc and then cut it out and then finished turning it.
Nice.
Very nice.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
You cut the heart out first?
Well, I cut the log down. I turned the log down to a disc. It was 2.5 inches thick and about 8 inches around, and then took the disc over to the bandsaw, cut the heart, and then I
turned
finished
it the
turning
rest of the way?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that side was flat, back side was flat, top side was flat. Cut out the heart, fixed my bottom with a recess, turned it around, hollowed out the inside.
I love that wood grain.
Yeah, cherry when it gets some movement in it is just wonderful. I like cherry anyway, but then you get some movement in it.
Yeah.
This was not a crotch, but it was had a little bit of burl on the very outer edge that there's not a lot of burl remnants left other than maybe that little bit right there that you can see opposite my hand.
Yeah.
Okay, Brenda, what do you see in that wood?
I see a face.
all right.
Just light the fire, Ronnie. Just light the fire.
All right, Bill, you're up.
Good evening, gentlemen. I have another piece of Kentucky coffee tree to show you.
Oh, nice.
Some of you know that we took one down in the village here, and the turners of, well, none of it went to scrap. This is about 8 or 9 inches high, and I turned it so that there's a little bit of the bark there, and there, and then you've got the sapwood, this the white color here, and then the heartwood is the red. Drilled and then flared at the mouth. You know,
It sure is pretty wood. Nice work.
it's beautiful wood to work with. If you can get your hands on it, you know, the bark will stay on if you want to leave the bark, and you can turn it green without much splitting problem. Beautiful wood.
Looks like cowhide.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really does.
Oh man, y'all getting her started again. Thank you, Bill. Beautiful.
This must be, there you go.
See the bird,
A
Brenda?
grouse.
There's
That's
a
a
little
grouse.
bird, yeah.
It's a grouse. How about that?
Okay,
All
good night.
right. Let's see. We got a repeat offender again. Hey, Matt.
Yeah, when I did, I couldn't find the actual pieces, but these are the flowers. You can also carve them. These are just made just like those ones that the other gentleman showed earlier. So I made a bunch of them one Easter a couple years ago, and then came back and decided to carve them up. So that could be done.
Very nice, Matt.
Really pretty.
Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, they're fun.
Nice.
So,
All right, let me flip through here, make sure I didn't miss anybody here in the last couple.
there's at least one other person on there. So
Let's see. If I've missed you, let's see.
Speak up
Well,
now.
maybe-
Forever hold
maybe
your
not.
peace.
Maybe
Rock and
not.
roll.
Maybe I'm wrong about
I'm
that.
not seeing them.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong about that. I'm sorry.
But if I missed you, speak now or wait till next week.
Yeah, well, it's about that time. We've been here over 3 hours tonight. Good club meeting, a lot of things. And I tell you, covered it from, I thought it was doing good right up to the time Matt played the flute. But we learned a lot tonight.
We even
And
learned
those
Matt
are
plays-
mostly
Flute
turned,
out.
guys. So they are routed, but I put them on the lathe and turned them too. So
Hey, Eddie, I love that.
Dane Bill Louds had a vase I think he wanted to show, if he's still there.
Yeah, we just did, Bill.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap us up for this evening, folks. We're going to be back next Wednesday evening. We formally start at 6 p.m. Central, but hey, Brenda broke the ice this afternoon about, so, you know, we all get together, we chat. It's like being on the tailgate of the truck. And I tell you what, it's the high point of the week for me and maybe a couple other folks. And I appreciate y'all being here so much. If we can help you in any way whatsoever, if you are watching a repeat of this, if we can help you in any way whatsoever, drop us a note on our website and ask. We've got one of the finest websites on wood turning in the entire world. We've got the greatest staff in the entire world. It's
Hey,
all
Eddie.
of you folks.
Hey, Eddie, go over the
Hey.
contact list real quick.
Oh, yeah, wait. We don't have a membership list, but before you leave, we have a contact list. It's a voluntary thing. You go to the chat, and by the way, you better save the chat tonight. This is loaded. You go to the chat, name, address, phone number, whatever you want,
Popped up again.
or in viewing when you get the chat, you can email it to our website, and that's on our website, but you will be added to a list. Webmaster will take the information off the chat, put it on our list, and if you want a copy of the list, there's a place on our website to request it. Follow the directions exactly. It's bot proof, which we don't want you to get a ton of email because you signed up for this. And the password is Captain. So look, join in, get there. Don't forget to save the chat. In fact, I got to do it right now, for still talking about it. There we go. I saved the chat. And it's all going to be on the internet in a few days from our master webmaster. I'm Captain Eddie Castle on behalf of the entire world of wood turning. I thank you for joining us tonight. I want to see you back here next week. Be safe. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Everybody, take care.
Good night, everybody.
Wonderful week.
Happy
Have a great
turning.
week. Stay safe.
Bye
Good
bye.
night, Mary Ellen. Good night.